He claimed, oh, I don't rap, I scrap. All right, well, he tried to scrap with him and lost that too. So what's the next thing to do, right? Allegedly.
If I was his brother, I'd have did the same thing. Like, you're not going nowhere with I would have did the same. But I mean, you're not from Sixties though. And you're not from the hood, so, you know, you can't really speak on hood business.
Nah.
And
so the next day, TD and them came and he was just doing some book or whatever like that. So they try to come, Big U tell Nip, get in the car, you gonna go on Bryanhurst and you gonna get in, right? Black Sim like, you ain't taking my brother nowhere. You get what I'm saying? And he tried to pull him out the car. When he tried to pull him out the car or whatever like that, Nip looked over and he was like, listen, long as you don't, you know, me, we good. So he was like, nah. So Fats, right? My homie Fats.
You talking about another situation?
You know, I'm talking about the same situation.
The situation this happened when Black Sam bust in the air.
No, he did bust in the air, but Big U tried to fire on Fats.
Fats put him on his pockets.
And then Fats put him on his pockets.
I got a call on that one.
Now pay attention. You know, listen, I know I always say take what Wax say with a grain of salt, but this is loose cannon. Loose Cannon was very, very good friends with Big U at a point in time before they flipped on him. He know what he's talking about. This is why this is dangerous, getting on these social media platforms, because you're talking about street business that's real. And as you can see, this is why he's in the position that he's in. But this is also more of a reason why Big U name is coming up in these guys' demises, because you have reason to, you have motive. He said Fats, who is close to Nip, pretty much socked him and put him on his pockets. I'm talking like I'm from Cali. You know what I mean? Punched him in his face, had him on the floor.
He put him on his pockets, right? So, you know, Fats is like 5'4".
Nip seen the play and teed off on it. Oh, well, let's do it like football. Go. Teed off on that man, sidewinding. He broke out into an all-world melee. He walking this dude down. Dudes jump in, trying to pack him out. But here come Pops to the rescue with that bat. Whack-a, 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 whack-a. Ooh-wee knots all across Big U head. But Big U team was having the momentum until Fast rolled in hot. Jumped out, slammed Big U against the wall.
That's when Black Sam came out.
Testing, testing, testing.
Pulled out the pistol, bust in the air trying to stop it. Somehow police arrived 30 seconds later.
How many fights I done had in this parking lot, I can't count, man. How many fights Fats had, my brother had, we can't count. How many,
Hey guys, welcome.
you know, incidents with the police right here? Let me show you something. So, you know, if you look where Ant's standing right there, that's where my brother was standing. You know, and if you look where, let me show you, standing about right here.
This is those guys.
You know, this is where the police was busting from. And police is trained shooters. Police don't miss. And, you know, he busting like this in a full clip. And he didn't hit my brother at all.
Somehow Big U went in and went out. I guess the grid program is like a fast pass at Disneyland. Everything expedited.
Feed me. Come to find out, Black Sam was off parole. Black Sam indeed had to bail out. Big U was the one that they
walked
let
right out
out.
of there. Yep.
No strings attached.
Sure did.
He turned into grid worker when all this hit the fan. He's got pulled over down the street.
The next night, they called a meeting. Both.
Now, for y'all that don't know the context behind that Whack 100 interview, what they were saying is Big U may have been working with the
feds.
people.
Yep.
right? That's been a rumor for a long time. A lot of people were saying this is why Big U was able to kind of get away from certain charges and say that he's the big homie and have people check in and he's Crip. He was allowed to do that because he had certain ties to certain
Same thing
things.
with Diddy. They said the same thing about Diddy.
And so that's what WAC 100 is pretty much
like
saying. When they all got locked up,
they work with the people that are on the side so that
everybody
way they
else
can get
had
away
to
with a
go
lot
through
of
a
things they need to
process.
do.
However, Big U himself was let out. All right.
The feds called Big U out for the fade. Big U wanted no parts of it. And you know, Big U, he can't live down embarrassment. He got to get you one way or another. What's the plan? Well, both the feds, he was running a weed shop. And you know, Big U was extorting the weed shops. He couldn't extort fats, though. So he tried every way possible. First, by attacking the weed shops.
Yep.
Find them niggas by them off. Look good. I don't know. Trap right there.
Yep, it's crazy. He sent them in there to rob the other guys, which is Nipsey Hussle friends. Weed store.
He got to Fats by offering weed at a super discounted price. After a few deals, Fats got comfortable.
Until this one mysterious day.
He sold him his own weed, mind you.
I got some love flight, bro.
It's crazy.
Come outside. Man, they had security, so both the Fats in there in flip-flops and shorts, marathon shirt. He comfy, like chestnuts roasting over an open fire. He come outside in flip-flops, looking both ways, looking for this dude. Like, where he at? He said he right here on the corner of West Boulevard and 59th. Dude,
I always say, never trust your enemy.
Oh, you gotta walk to
you
the
are enemy one time, you're always my enemy.
Over here. Dead homies. By the time he made it to that corner, he was ambushed.
Crazy.
And that dude was the last one seen rolling off. Allegedly. Asked the trenches though. Man, the whole city was crying.
R.I.P. Fats, man. R.I.P. Nipsey. Man, I don't think Nipsey was the same after this. And I really believe Nipsey only started rocking with Big U again because he was tired of dealing with the BS. Big U had too much power in the hood. But again, this is...
Damn, so you mean to tell me after they went through all that,
they sure did,
Nipsey and them still went back and nah, I wouldn't have did it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because I will always feel like I'm gonna be backdoored some way, somehow. We went through too much. I done whooped on you. I done made a diss song about you. My brother done shot in the air. It would have been too much for me to trust you, especially somebody like Big U, right? He's the type of dude, if you take his pride, his ego, it's over. Because that's pretty much all he has. He's the big guy. He's the guy.
What he got?
So if you take that from him and you embarrass him, somehow, some way, he has to get back.
Yep.
This is all alleged. But what's not alleged is I got proof of Cowboy backdooring Nipsey Hussle.
See, my thing is, the weirdest scenario about this is Big U was so intelligent on knowing his targets, knowing his enemy, knowing his keep your enemy close and your friends close, your friends close and your enemies closer. He kept these mottos very to his heart, like he wore it on his sleeve, and he knew that they were going to eventually let their guard down to even give him the opportunity to get back in. He knew that robbing the weed store and then selling it to him back at a discounted rate was going to get him comfortable. Anybody would get comfortable. I'm getting it for low, why not? And they thought like the street code is street code. You know, we fight with our fists and it ends here. Whoever wins, wins, and they walk away. But that wasn't the case with Big U. His ego had him driven to succeed and accomplish the things that were out of his control and out of his power. He wanted to control everything.
After his death, give me 500 likes and I'll drop it ASAP.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, but the reason why I covered this story is because if y'all remember, if y'all familiar with us doing videos.
That's a fact. Commercial.
Listen to this.
There's no excuse.
Us doing videos when Nipsey passed away, we told y'all something wasn't right. You could go back to all the videos we did. A lot of people saying, oh, conspiracy theory, cool. But now that everything is starting to come out, look. Now I always tell y'all the only difference between the truth and a quote-unquote conspiracy theory is time.
Yep, that's a fact.
And it's been proven every single time.
Yep.
Now, let me say this. I'm not pointing no fingers because I don't know who did what and or what's going on. We don't know 100% if Big U did have a hand in Nipsey or Fats unaliving yet, right? But as I always tell y'all, where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't believe in coincidences, but for y'all that do, let's point out a huge coincidence right here. Big U signed Nipsey Hussle to a 10-year contract in 2009, right?
Yep.
They started having trouble towards the end of that contract, which was like 2018-ish.
19.
Early 2019-ish.
Yep.
Now, is it a coincidence that they started beefing right before Nipsey's contract was ending? And maybe it's because Big U knew that Nipsey wasn't going to resign because at the time Nipsey passed away, he was more into ownership, being independent, and then y'all hear about all the stuff that they was going through in the first place. So, of course, he ain't signing under this man once again. So what's the odds that Nip is signed to a 10-year contract in 2009
and passed away?
Once the contract is about to be done in 2019, suddenly he's unalived that same year when his contract is up. And we know how these labels are as soon as the top money earners want to leave. It seemed like every time a rapper wising up to leave their label, something happens to them. Tupac, Biggie, Eazy-E, and way more. But the most recent we've seen was Drake, right? Drake had a clean slate since he came in the game in 2008 or 2009. Now,
and did y'all know the movie Friday, the character that Debo was playing was Big U? So Big U inspired the character Debo in Friday.
On his name, and he's been signed to a label his whole career. Coincidentally, as soon as he becomes an independent artist and not signed anymore, we start seeing the whole industry against him, and we hear that he's a quote-unquote PDF file. Right? Now, here's another coincidence. The kid that Big U was accused of unaliving is said to have made a diss song about Big U as well. And allegedly, Big U didn't like it, and lo and behold, the kid ended up unalived after. If y'all remember, Loose Cannon and Whack 100 did an interview where they say Nipsey and Big U got into a little fight where Black Sam had to pull out a firearm or whatever.
And he shot in the air.
Nipsey made a subliminal diss song then, and then suddenly he's also unalived.
True story.
Shortly after. So keep in mind, these are all just coincidences and these are all just alleged. But he got some explaining to do some way, somehow. And you want to know what's crazy? Just hearing all this, a lot of us from the outside looking in didn't know that Big U and Nipsey was going through all this, right? I mean, we heard that they had some tension, but we didn't know it was this intense. And not only that, but this just goes to show that Nipsey was going through a lot silently before he passed away. We may have not known it, but he was going through a lot with his hoods and the gang he represented all before he passed away. So we thought, you know, everything was all peaches and cream, but come to find out, he was going through a lot. But you just didn't know because he didn't show it. I don't know, man. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about all this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.
All right, so let's see what next we can find that is more information about Big U and Nipsey that they had dropped recently, because they had dropped something else on it. Let's see. Big U unalived, Nipsey Hussle, and facts, fun facts. Yeah, let's see what else they got. Oh yeah, he did. He had Shaq too. He had what is the one I'm looking for? But they said he backdoor Shaq and was tech and Shaq as well. But they say he texts everybody. Let's be technical.
Behind the facade of anti-gang activism and music production lies the supposed reformed gangster who once mentored Nipsey Hussle now stands accused of running a criminal empire that allegedly embezzled donations from NBA stars like Shaquille O'Neal while ordering hits on his own signed artists. In this video, we're doing a deep dive in the recent case against Big U and uncovering the dirty hidden secrets of his
This is fascinating.
operation. In March 2025, the facade of redemption came crashing down.
And I was in LA the day that Nipsey Hussle was unalived.
Eugene
was
Big
crazy.
U Henley Jr., the 58-year-old music executive and supposed anti-gang activist, was charged with conspiracy to violate the racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations. In simple terms, the RICO Act is a legal document filed by the government that accuses Big U and his associates of running a criminal enterprise. The himself publicly as a reformed gang member, running legitimate businesses and charities like Developing Options, but was allegedly using these organizations as fronts for criminal activity. The document claims Big U leveraged his reputation as a rolling 60s gang leader to intimidate people and businesses in Los Angeles. The investigation included evidence from wiretapped phone calls, recorded meetings, financial records, surveillance, and witness testimony. The RICO charges are particularly serious.
They've been investigating him for at least 3 years.
Target organized criminal enterprises rather than just individual crimes.
A music executive and community activist is accused of running a criminal empire in Los Angeles. Eugene Henley Jr. facing RICO charges, allegedly tying him to the notorious Rollin' 60s street gang.
Let's rewind to understand how we got here. Big U rose to prominence in the 1980s as a leader within the Rollin' 60 Crips, one of the first and most notorious Crip sets operating in South Los Angeles. Despite his criminal past, Henley seemingly turned his life around. And generous donors, including NBA legends. Draymond Green contributed substantially to Henley's nonprofit. But according to federal prosecutors, Henley pocketed $20,000 from Green's donation, money meant to help kids escape gang life, diverted straight into the pocket of an alleged crime boss. Even more troubling are the allegations involving Shaquille O'Neal. The four-time NBA champion and cultural icon made a substantial contribution to developing options. Although the full amount hasn't been disclosed, but court documents suggest that a significant portion of Shaq's donation never reached its intended recipients. Just think about that for a moment. Shaq, whose public image has always been that of a gentle giant, bringing joy to fans and helping communities, may have unknowingly funded a criminal enterprise. The court documents don't suggest Shaq had any knowledge members and associates
He
of the
definitely
Rollin
messed up when he did
60s
what he
have
did
been
to
charged
Nipsey.
alongside Henley.
Allegedly.
These include Mark Martin, aka Bear Claw, and Sylvester and as always, stay safe and lock your doors.
My thing is what made her think that he really had a choice. Like, Big U didn't give you a choice. You either lay down or rolled over. Either or. So I don't really think he had a choice in the matter of what was.
A music executive and community activist is accused of running a criminal empire in Los Angeles. Eugene Henley Jr. facing RICO charges, allegedly tying him to the notorious Rollin 60s street gang.
Big U rose to prominence in the 1980s as a leader within the Rollin 60 Crips, one of the first and most notorious.
He's been a leader for a minute, though.
Operating in South Los Angeles. Despite his criminal past, Henley seemingly turned his life around. In 2004, he founded Developing Options, a non-profit organization supposedly dedicated to providing youth with alternatives to gang violence. This redemption story attracted powerful allies and generous donors, including NBA legends. Draymond Green contributed substantially to Henley's nonprofit, but according to federal prosecutors, Henley pocketed $20,000 from Green's donation, money meant to help kids.
That's what he did wrong. And that's where money laundering is big at. If you have a donation that is supposed to go to your charity, it's never supposed to touch your personal account.
O'Neal.
That is wire fraud. That is money laundering, 100%. People don't get that. that once that money touches your account and it's meant for a distinctive charity or charitable donation, the feds got you. It's not long before they definitely come knocking on your door. Like, I don't understand why people think that you can hide behind a charity or an organization and think that you're going to get away with it.
I will be your weapon, Somalia.
Everything has a footprint. Everything has a receipt. Everything is followed and watched 100%. So Big U definitely made a big mistake by allowing that money to cross over, let alone torturing and harassing and stalking the people that he has been. Okay, let's see this one.
What Loose Cannon said in his call from the feds on No Jump was so crazy.
I ain't gonna lie.
The feds ran up on Adam 22.
This is a real life movie. I appreciate y'all for coming and watching this movie with us.
This is a real life movie.
Yeah, because this is a movie. This, I'm talking about. This is an R-rated.
And I said this years ago.
It's going down. Do your homework on going down, not up.
What's up with it, King? How you doing?
Not much, man. We tapped in right now. We got the Viral Way on here. We got Lush, and we got the one and only Munchie B.
Before we even move forward, I want to give Loose Cannon credit. Loose Cannon to me is one of the most authentic people in this
Shout out Lucas.
entire LA gangster hip hop podcast scene.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who I see when they're out on the streets, they're D1 crash outs. But it never fails. As soon as the feds or the police come, after 2 weeks in jail, man, they choir boys now. They
singing
churches.
No cap.
They denouncing their gangs, denouncing the street life. They have
They singing.
I have a dream speeches. They want to be motivational
Muslims.
speakers. They get in their GEDs and they like
Muslims for real.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on.
They Charleston White.
How killer when you was free, but now you a bishop. Now you MLK. Now you Malcolm
Charleston
X in
White.
prison.
That's how it be
It's
though.
almost
He ain't lying.
it's the
Child
most
Flacco.
absurd thing to me.
He not lying because no, we don't want to see all that.
Yep.
We want you to be the same rough, tough gangster. Yeah, a lot of people be gangsters outside.
And in Charleston
when
White
there's
in
not
jail.
A lot of gangsters around. As soon as they go in jail with everybody a gangster, that's what I'm show you how gangster you really is or how gangster you really trying to be.
Now I can understand
Do your
reforming and changing, but
homework.
like bro, if you can change it,
I know for a fact Big U's gonna snitch.
You could change on the streets. You ain't need prison to change
Right,
if it only took 2 weeks to change up your entire program. Loose
Preach,
Cannon, you
Flacco.
gotta respect it.
Preach.
D1 crash out when he was free. D1 crash out in jail, bro. All right, he ain't giving no Fs. When Loose Cannon called in this time, they exercised some decorum. They asked him how he was feeling before they got into who's snitching. All right, so Loose Cannon is calling from the feds and he's speaking about and exposing who he believes is snitching on their RICO case. Talking about open witnesses on
I think everybody's snitching, specifically all these females.
No, specifically
You know
Big
what I'm
U.
saying? All these females, I think snitching.
I mean,
One, two,
he done had the
Asian boy
shit, but he's still gonna snitch.
White boy snitching. Everybody's snitching.
Everybody snitching to Big U.
I'm the first people to.
Big U point to the fingers and
Who
they
turned
point
on
back
you
to
already?
him.
No, I'm talking about on Big Useless.
Oh, people are already telling on him.
Big useless.
Yeah. So it's like I'm just
What?
sitting in here right now, just going through the process.
Right.
Damn.
Is everybody telling Loose, or do you know specifically who's been telling?
Yeah,
This is a live call.
The only people that's still in here is me breaking him.
Yo, that is groundbreaking. Did he say everybody got out except 3 people?
Everybody came home except for Brick Baby,
Big U.
Big U, and Loose Cannon. Oh, it's gonna get bad, y'all.
Oh
Real.
shoot.
That's spooky.
Oh,
Bruh.
I got chills.
Hold
I'm
on, y'all,
crying.
because y'all know I love putting y'all on to that.
I'm crying. Not everybody out except Big U and 2 others.
Deal.
Ooh, Big U is
We'll
mad.
let you out right now. You just got to tell us this, and this.
Hell no, that ain't no conversation.
Not with him, no.
Nah.
So they consider you to
He a
be
hot
such
boy.
a
Mhm.
crucial part
Yeah.
of this
Yep.
case
Yeah.
that
Yep.
they're not even proposing a
Yep.
deal.
They're not talking to him.
No, I haven't. No, it's not that. It's not that at all.
Safety valve?
It's just the point of it is it's just not gonna happen.
He's not talking.
Oh,
That's what he's
he's not
saying.
gonna
The feds
He's saying
know
he's
that
not
you're
rolling.
so solid.
Right. He's not gonna roll. Let's make this clear. If he flips, they flipping him. So he's not gonna have
Well,
opportunity.
they wouldn't even ask you to talk.
Right.
No, it's not gonna happen.
So did you catch word that I just revealed it like an hour ago on this podcast, but basically the feds came to my house and the one and only thing that they were interested in was the cease and desist from
Big U.
Big U.
Yep.
Because
About
of
that
your
interview.
appearance on the podcast with Wack, in which you basically said that Big U had knowledge of the Nipsey situation before it happened.
Right.
This entire interview is wild, but
This
this
is
particular
wild.
clip we're about to get
It's
into
crazy.
is one of the wildest things you
Wow.
will ever see.
Uh-oh.
So when Adam mentions the cease and desist,
Right.
you guys remember Loose Cannon did an appearance on No Jumper.
Yeah.
Right? Loose Cannon talked about how they kidnapped Meek Mill and
Mark my words. Mark my words. Mark my words. This cousin has something to do with this scenario. Sorry, y'all. But 100%, his cousin has something to do with the scenario. And what I mean by that is he definitely has something to do with this murder of Nipsey Hussle. And the fact that he said something about it previously at the interview on the No Jumper podcast and stated that Big U called him and told him that Nipsey passed away. My thing is, would he call you and tell you because y'all two had a understanding on something and it was a half an hour too early, so you called Nipsey just to make sure, or were you calling Nipsey to check out where he was? You know, it's kind of daunting that the same cousin, which is Nipsey Hussle's baby mother, his first baby mother, is the same cousin that called him when the situation happened. And we all know that Nipsey Hussle and his first baby mother fell out, so it's not like they were blood.
They kidnapped Meek Mill? They locked them?
They definitely kidnapped
They got
Meek Mill.
no, we don't want to see them no more. Y'all kidnapping Meek Mill? Who do y'all think y'all is, folks? They think, bro, I'm telling y'all, these niggas think they Tommy Egan and James.
They were serious about that checking in.
I'm
Big
telling
U
you,
was serious about that.
It's something wrong.
You don't check in, you get checked out.
Ain't clicking, folks. And Big U, he think he Suge Knight for them grave.
held him hostage until Rick Ross gave them $50,000.
No,
and he did that on behalf of Big U.
Yep.
Well, he also talked
Yep.
about how the day that Nipsey Hussle
Rick Ross
passed
had to
away,
pay that
Big U gave him a
50,000.
call 30 minutes before
100%.
Nipsey died.
He'll be like he'll manipulate things. Like we'll go and do something, and the same niggas we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later when we trying to counting everything, funny, right? Bro. And we be like, how the fuck get that? Oh well, we're gonna just give him like $40,000 back and stuff like that. But cuz it's actually putting us in paperwork, right? I'm his right hand man. You get what I'm saying? So when it
What?
came down to like dirt and stuff like that, I'm gonna get it. Do you get what I'm saying? And then
Meek and Rick
Wait,
had
wait,
no
wait,
idea
wait.
that Draw sent
Wait,
you
wait,
out.
wait, wait, wait.
oh yeah, they sent that because I
Wait. Did he just say he is Big U's right hand man? Technically, now this makes me even more convinced that he had something to do with the Nipsey Hussle thing as well. Because if you're Big U's big right hand man and you're one of his hitters, why would you not have had something to do with this now all of a sudden? Like, this sounds weird. See, they talk too much. This whole clout chasing thing that everybody's on in 2025 is still in their fate. They're ratting on themselves. They don't even need informants. They are the informants on themselves. Like, sit down, shut up, and don't say nothing. Like, they all want to get on these podcasts and run their mouths for clout. It's like, this clout ain't gonna clothe, feed, or nothing to you. It's just gonna haunt you in jail. Like, your words are gonna come back when you sitting there with your lawyer and the prosecution press play. This is what you're gonna hear. Your own words.
I called Ross. I'm like, Ross,
Boy, this
drop
shit
off,
getting crazy.
drop off the 50,000, and we're gonna let Meek live on Crips.
We gonna
So
let Meek live is crazy. I heard this part of the interview, but I guess I just ain't put two and two together. So you telling me y'all kidnapped Meek Mill? What?
Yes, they did
where was
kidnap
the
him.
Security at?
He didn't have none.
Y'all kidnapped Meek Mill. Called Rick Ross and said, "Send us 50 and we'll let him live." Is crazy, bro.
Ross
And he
dropped
said
off the
on Crip.
50,000. We were doing a TV show like a while back, right? And I'm on a
TV show.
Nipsey just got killed.
Yeah.
Obviously, after that interview aired, Big U sent No Jumper a cease and desist, telling No Jumper, hey, listen, everything that was said in that interview, such as I sent dudes to rob a dispensary, I extorted Meek Mill and Rick Ross for
Was true. All that was
50,000.
true.
I called and knew that Nipsey Hussle was going to pass away before he passed away. None of that is true. And some of that is actually included in the indictment. The Meek Mill and Rick Ross incident is included
I
in
didn't
the
know that
Big U
either.
indictment.
Yes, it is.
The robbery of the
Meek
dispensary.
Mill just in everything, folks. Meek Mill going through it, gang. Every time
Chat,
somebody get locked
if
up,
you want
Meek
us
Mill
to,
come up somehow, some way, folks.
Chat, if you want us to go through the indictment and word for word, we can do that after this. Just put a 1 in the chat.
Loose Cannon is actually being charged with that as well. And Big U is also being charged with that as well.
Right.
So right now, it'll be in Loose Cannon best interest to say, yeah, Big U was right. All of that was a lie. We were just capping and making up stories in an interview. But Loose Cannon would say no. If it was a lie, then why he wanted to take it down? I was telling the truth. And it's like, bro, no, you're not telling the truth. No.
Right.
Right.
You are lying.
Right.
No,
It was a made-up story.
You're not telling the truth, bro. Those are crimes.
If a man really hated ads, here's what he would do. Day 1, he would install Pi on his computer without spending a dime because it's 100.
That's pointing towards a
The
criminal
only thing I don't understand is, okay, if you saying all that, right, and then you get behind a call and be like, I'm not snitching. They know I'm not snitching.
You already snitched.
You was just on No Jumper and you told the entire
Yes, you
world
did.
what happened. Sir, I don't know what's wrong with these streets.
They stupid.
But that's snitching.
They want crowd.
You not talking behind the you feel me? You not talking about this behind closed doors, and you only talking to your other mafia members.
You talking to
Y'all
the whole
having
world
mafia meetings on national TV
on the No Jumper
with a
podcast.
link that you can watch on the TV, on the phone, on the laptop, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Not to mention the feds was watching these podcasts, bro.
Especially, sir, you did it. You can't kidnap nobody and talk about some
Extorting them. Yep.
and then tell a
Extorting them.
story and think you ain't gonna get locked up for it, my guy. What's going on?
Yep.
FBI, open up.
Organization being in place and whereas imposing their will on the city of Los Angeles and a criminal organization that they are accusing you of being a part of under Big U.
No, see, the thing is, it's like, I'm going to say it like this, because he's going through something. It's just why send a cease and desist if it's not true. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are suggesting. Yeah.
Defamatory though.
Yeah, even if it's not true, it is
Right.
It's a defamatory statement for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
How is it a defamatory? No, wait. How is it a defamatory statement if all he stated was he called him and told him that that Nipsey was dead? That's all he did. He didn't say anything like, "Oh, he planted, he did this, he did that, he did that." No, all he said was he called me 30 minutes before the scenario happened. That's not a defamatory statement. That at all. If anything, the Rick Ross comment is a defamatory statement. Like that would be statutes for that. But I don't get that.
Wasn't
Even
true.
if it wasn't
to
true.
keep it a stack.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To keep it.
What'd you say, Les?
I was saying I could. It's a defamatory statement, regardless. So I could see him not wanting that out, even if it wasn't true.
But
It's not a defamatory
But at
statement.
the same time, why you care?
Thank you. It's not a defamatory
I get what
statement.
he's saying. I get both sides. Because it's like,
I don't.
if it's not true, if somebody says something about me on there, I might react to it and be laughing about it. You know what I'm saying? Because the feds are not gonna come lock me up because of what you said on an interview if this not true. It's very easy for them to verify and get evidence of something being true. You get what I'm saying? But then I also feel like it's like, don't mess my name up like that. Like, I need y'all to take that video down because I already got the police maybe looking at me for something else or whatever the case may be. You feel me?
Somebody that was a liar, right? You just telling them put it out, right?
No. Here's the thing. I believe Loose Cannon.
I believe Loose Cannon.
Was telling the truth
100%.
about everything clearly because a lot of that
It's in the
feds
Fed
are saying
documents.
happened and it's true.
Right.
But this is not the time to prove that you were telling the truth. You should be, bro, that was all cap.
Okay.
I was just capping.
My thing is, I think he is saying stuff because his conscience is
Bro, y'all posting
killing him.
defamatory statements. But Loose
His
Cannon,
cousin has no father. Like, come on.
Loose, bro. Loose is gangster.
His conscience is eating
in
at
every
him.
situation, he's the same. I've never seen Loose Cannon not be himself. So Loose Cannon right now is being himself. Now, do you want to say this publicly? It's probably not the smartest, but at least he's being himself.
Yeah, bro.
Right?
I can't lie to you.
Now, Loose Cannon would also say that everybody who got bond right now, they are actively snitching on him.
JK.
I got no comment on the Rico. Nothing to do with the Rico. No comment.
Oh, that was a Crip joke. My bad.
You know it's free loose. It's free loose. Free other guys.
Like, everybody is going to support everybody. Only the real is going to stand. You get what I'm saying? Like, everybody that was on that indictment rolled over. Everybody out of jail. Everybody was making statements.
So you and Brick are the only ones who didn't have anything to say?
We're the only one that's still in jail.
Yep.
Right.
I didn't know everybody
Damn
was
near,
released.
yeah.
I
The
didn't
ones
either.
we know.
It was 4 already in jail though when they
Everybody else
changed
is
Linda.
out.
Damn, everybody.
Everybody out.
Bugged out.
That's wild.
Loose, activate your patience, man. Stay off that phone.
And how do you feel about people celebrating people going to jail?
Ooh,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Loose Cannon is
I'm
one of the
celebrating it. Lock that nigga Big U
Yep.
up. He's a
Lock him up.
Society. I'm talking about Tommy.
He is
in the
dangerous.
flesh, the black version.
Yes, he
Suge
is.
Knight, reincarnated.
Debo.
Lock his ass up. You out here robbing weed shops and all that, folks. Lock that nigga up. Lock him up.
entertaining people in internet history. I feel like having Loose Cannon call in and talk about the trending topics or talk about the hip hop, just so his time can pass by easier. I feel like that would be better. But calling Loose Cannon and asking about, hey, bro, who's snitching? Hey, yo, who's snitching on y'all, bro? Yo, the witnesses right now, who's cooperating, who's quote unquote snitching, who got bond, who are out.
The thing
You
is,
don't want to.
the thing is, that is endangering the lives of the witnesses that are testifying. He wasn't supposed to say that. That's definitely going to be something that the judge is going to the lawyers are going to bring up at his bail hearing. They're definitely going to say he's a danger to society. They're definitely going to hold bail. They're not going to let him out. Just like Big U, they're not going to get a Big U bail. It took him 10 days or 5 days before they was even to catch him. Like, he was literally making YouTube and Instagram videos talking about, I'm gonna turn myself in, but this and that. Like, he did like 7 of them before he even turned himself in.
Put them on a blast because those are people the feds believe are gonna help their case.
Yep.
So if they believe that those people are gonna help,
Oh, you've never used samples like this before. This is Arcade, the ultimate sample plugin.
their case, bro, the feds is gonna take every tool possible to protect those people.
Yeah.
Because when you start calling them out, start identifying them, that could be seen as witness intimidation.
Yeah.
And now the feds is going to do what? Okay, to take away phone privileges. So, we can't give him bond because he's going to try to
That's
go
a
after.
fact.
You feel me? So it's like there's just so many examples of how this could go wrong. That
He ain't lying.
I don't feel like we
Poetic
should call-
Flacco, the fact that this man, Poetic Flacco, is spitting his knowledge. And Poetic Flacco, I'm pretty sure, has came out and openly said he's never did anything illegal in the streets. He ain't had no street homies. None of that. He is a complete regular civilian. And he got enough sense to be like, hey, bro, you can get your phone privileges took. You can get this. Why don't you shut the fuck up?
He won't shut up because they want
It's
clout.
beyond me, folks.
They're high up the clout
Call loose
train.
cannon and ask him about snitches.
I'm sorry.
Or call loose cannon and ask him about who's cooperating. We should call loose cannon and talk about how's life with you, man. All right.
Bro.
How's your baby mother?
Okay.
Now, loose cannon said something.
Adam
after
22
this.
don't care nothing about that. I'm
Nope.
gonna ask you whatever get the views.
Yep.
Yeah.
He want that
was
money.
so crazy that even like the two dudes viral way, well, the podcast is viral way, but that's viral and that's Messiah. And on the left, even they had to say, "Whoa, bro, sir, you got to
Calm
relax."
down, my guy.
Is not laughing with loose cannon; they're laughing at loose cannon. And when the phone hang up, they're gonna be laughing at the situation.
I don't want him to go to jail. I'd rather if we beef him, we handle this shit on the street.
Why is
That's
he on the
it.
phone saying that?
Why
Yeah,
is he
I don't
on
know
the
if
phone saying that? Why are you on the phone?
He want clout.
What's wrong with him? Something is not clicking in his
It's
head.
not.
He on camera talking about some he robbed. You on camera admitting to robbing Meek Mill, kidnapping, want to rob this nigga.
Rick
Talking about
Ross,
some,
extorting
you'll
Rick
let
Ross
him live? What the fuck you mean you'll let him live? So you was going to unalive him?
for
That's
50,000?
a crime in itself. Planning to
Unalive somebody.
unalive somebody
Allegedly.
is conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
That will get you 30 years.
Yes,
bro.
that's a fact.
What's wrong with these niggas?
They tweaking.
Hey, hang up, hang up, like, hang up, bro. Y'all, you doing crazy shit, cuz. Hang up.
Like, I don't want him to go to jail. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Shitty burger.
That's just kind of weird for somebody. I want
Y'all niggas crazy, cuz. Y'all letting this.
I don't understand what's weird about that either. If I want my enemy to go to jail, but you don't think it's weird to say I want my enemy dead, but you think it's weird to say I want my enemy to go to jail? That's weird to you? I don't understand that shit at all.
Logic is not in their brains.
Hey, bro, everybody ain't criminals, bro. Everybody ain't sliding. Everybody ain't on that. Some people just want to raise their kids, get money, have fun, have some sex with their wife, go on trips. You feel me? Drive nice cars, go shopping. Everybody don't want to be in the streets, gangbang, get shot at, and shoot people all day, folks. So, honestly, bro, me personally, I don't give a damn what he think is weird. I think it's weird for you to be on camera snitching on yourself.
Still, at this point.
Fuck.
This nigga criminal himself. Hang up, cuz.
No street dudes say that, Adam.
I know, but nigga, don't do it while we on here, because it look like we condoning it, cuz. We're not with that, bro.
Luke, the
Hang
viral
up,
way wants
bro.
to make it clear that they think you're incriminating yourself and that you should stop.
Who's the viral way?
Long as you
Podcast from Long Beach.
Yeah, we don't got nothing to do with what he doing. I just don't want to watch him do that, bro.
Shout out to them too.
Hey, Luce, hang up, bro. Let your lawyer talk.
No cap.
You said what?
I said hang up
Can't
and let
got
your
one yet,
lawyer
it's
talk,
crazy.
bro. Like, they gonna use this for content. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, but the thing is not saying anything that I have.
Nah, bro, but
You are incriminating yourself,
I'm gonna
stupid.
tell you some real shit. Activate your patience, like bro said. All this circus, don't do that, bro. You were facing some real life shit.
Like,
The internet,
shut
don't
up.
do that.
No cap.
They gonna laugh at you. None of these niggas gonna put money on your books.
None of them.
Adam 22 ain't putting no money on
He
your
ain't.
books. Adam 22 ain't paying.
Adam
for
is
no
tight
lawyer.
right
They
now
just
because he's
laughing.
saying this,
They
honestly.
just happy to be over there getting. Ooh, he's saying all the crazy.
Yeah,
stuff
we
I
got
need to say to get
first
the
class
views.
like
So
information.
shout out to
Yep.
bro right here. I don't know who he is. I guess
He's a
like
real
I said,
one.
Podcast in Long Beach.
He's a real one.
I actually kind of grew up in Long Beach for a few years before I moved back to Chicago. But he the only one saying.
Yep.
The pineal gland has tiny little cilia, hair-like extensions all around it. When you hold your breath and you
Saying the real, and people get mad at niggas like this. See, he's me, bro. He's me in a situation like this. Like, I'm the type of nigga to tell a person like, hey gang, they gonna laugh at you, they gonna sit around and let you do all this. I'm gonna try to tell you, shut the fuck up. If you don't listen, you don't listen, but I ain't gonna sit here and send you off and you know.
These niggas gonna come visit you. They're gonna laugh at you when this phone call hang up, cuz.
No cap.
Don't. The fame ain't worth that shit.
Everything will go, even the female.
I would like to say he's capping, but nobody corrected him. Now, if I
He's
was
not
there, I would have
capping.
said, hey, bro, nah, I'm not laughing at the homie, man. I love Loose Cannon. Now, I know Lush has a relationship with Loose Cannon. Munchie being Loose Cannon or Ops. Adam and Loose Cannon don't really have a relationship. So maybe they are laughing. Who
They
knows,
are
right?
laughing,
I know
bro.
for sure, like, Munchie ain't laughing because Munchie is like Like Munchie is one of the last like real street dudes, right? To where he, like, bro, he's not laughing at an enemy for being in jail, but
I am.
this is
sorry
not good, man. You know, it's not good. But at some point, you got.
Bad. That was bad. I'm sorry, Loose Cannon. You cooked.
All right, guys, enough of this. Let's listen to this indictment, because I heard it's a 40-page indictment. So I'm pretty curious on what's inside of this big indictment. So let's figure this out. Start from the bottom and work our way up. So far, we've been seeing some interesting, to say the least, commentary on this whole scenario. And it's just looking like a big umbrella, like of just many things.
All right, you has turned himself in. He has been apprehended. Him and a bunch of other people have been arrested on federal RICO charges. Right, I'm sure y'all are familiar with the situation. In this video, we're
this is crazy.
Over the actual complaint, the indictment itself. I do have the full 107-page document. We're gonna run through it. If y'all been with the channel for a little while, y'all know that I do this pretty much every time a big indictment like this drops. This is a long one, but it's probably not the longest one that I've ever read on here. But y'all know this video is for the people that don't want to go read it themselves. So with that said, let's go ahead.
Let's read this. Let's listen to this indictment. Because this document's going to be real.
Got the cover page. We can see the United States of America versus Eugene Henley, Sylvester Robinson, Mark Martin, Tremaine Ashley Williams, Armani Aflihi, Frederick Blayton Jr., and Tiffany Shinrinka Hines. It says, the complaint in this case, state the following is true to the best of my knowledge and belief. In and around the years of 2010 through the present, in the county of Los Angeles, in the Central District of California, the defendant violated Code Section 18 USC. It says offense description, RICO conspiracy, interference with commerce by robbery, transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with the intent that that individual engage in prostitution, bank fraud, and it is signed by the judge, dated March 17, 2025.
100%. They've been investigating him for at least 2019 to
it has the
current.
whole introduction
It's still going over it.
redacted,
And PBJ or whatever his name is, the rapper that died at Roscoe's,
read an indictment on this channel that had
something
everything
that had ties
it then lists
to
the people, property,
Big U. He was
and
allegedly he was definitely inside of the restaurant that they were eating at, and he also has made a comment to him about
including Big U's
making
house on 62nd Street,
this is what I was
house in
he also made a comment to him about
a lot of that stuff.
checking
But the indictment really
LA.
begins
They were
right
serious
here,
about
where it says
checking in
summary of the investigation. It says in February of 2021, the FBI Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs launched an investigation into Big U's criminal enterprise and its association with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips street gang, which the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs began investigating in August of 2020. The Big U enterprise is a mafia-like organization that utilizes Big U's stature and long-standing association with the Rolling 60s and others.
That's how you know it has ties to Nipsey Hussle's unaliving, because if it was the guy that was unalived in 2021, the artist, then it would have started in 2022, 2021. But if it started in 2020, Nipsey Hussle was unalived 2019 or 2020, right? It was March 2019, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. He was unalived. Of course, they started the investigation in 2020 because they knew that it had a tie to do with something with Nipsey Hussle's unaliving. And not to mention Big U's response to Nipsey Hussle's unaliving, which was the videos that he made on Instagram, the little comments he made, the side comments, him not showing up to the funeral, all big signs of him having something to do. Not to mention the last conversation we saw with Nipsey Hussle talking, and he said that Big U tried to get him backdoored when he was doing a video with the Bloods for the music video that he did the collab with. So that all identifies Big U.
To intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. The Big U enterprise is led by Henley, Big U. Big U is a self-admitted member and original gangster or OG of the Rolling 60s, which is a violent criminal street gang with associated sets in several other states. Big U is widely regarded as the leader within the Rolling 60s. In the 1980s, Big U rose to a prominent position in the Los Angeles drug and Rolling 60s hierarchies. During this time, Big U also earned a reputation as an enforcer for the Rolling 60s. Some members of the Big U enterprise are also members of the Rolling 60s. Henley is able to lead the Big U enterprise because of his standing as the face of the Rolling 60s for decades and his reputation for violence, including murder. At times, the Big U enterprise partners with members and associates of the Rolling 60s and other criminal elements for mutual benefit, but the Big U enterprise is a district and independent criminal enterprise engaged in criminal activity. So they're separating the two. They're saying the Rolling 60s is involved and it is headed by Big U, but also Big U Enterprise is also an independent body separate from the Rolling 60s, and both of these engage in criminal activity. It says members and associates of the Big U Enterprise are engaged in illegal activities, including extortion, robbery, murder, human trafficking, wire fraud, bank fraud, and other financial crimes, obstruction of justice, illegal debt collection, illegal gambling, conspiracy to commit fraud via illegal gambling, and other offenses in furtherance of the Big U Enterprise and for the benefits of its members and associates. As set forth in detail below, through the course of the investigation, agents gathered information from a variety of sources, including confidential human sources, surreptitious recordings, including Title III wiretaps, search warrants for social media, iCloud and Google accounts, financial records from both individuals and companies or organizations, toll records showing communications between conspirators, victims, and Big U Enterprise members and associates, cell site location information from numerous phones, including Big U's, Robinson's, and Martin's, City of Los Angeles records, public filings, and other publicly available information, and 8 interviews of witnesses and victims. Wow. The investigation employed various additional investigative techniques, including surveillance, vehicle tracking, poll cameras, recording devices, interaction with confidential sources, and information gleaned through undercover purchases of firearms and narcotics. Wow. The United States District Court for the Central District of California authorized multiple Title III wire and electronic interception orders for telephones being used by certain subjects of the investigation, including Big U, Robinson, and Martin, and Zahir Mitchell, aka Brick Baby. It says the court also authorized the interception of audiovisual nonverbal conduct via closed circuit television or CCTV through the installation of video and audio bugs in a location. Since the inception of this investigation, the FBI, Internal Revenue Service, Criminal Investigations Unit, the United States Attorney's Office for the Central District of California, North Las Vegas Police Department, and the Los Angeles Police Department, and other local agencies have interviewed more than 50 individuals, including subjects of the investigation, who agreed voluntarily to provide information, as discussed further below. And then right here is where it starts to get juicy. It says, as part of the Big U Enterprise's purported control of Los Angeles, individuals including professional athletes, musicians, and others intending to conduct certain type of business in Los Angeles, including both legitimate businesses and illicit criminal conduct, were required to quote unquote check in with Big U prior to traveling to Los Angeles or engaging in certain activities to obtain protection from the Big U Enterprise while they were in Los Angeles. Big U hosted a podcast titled Checked In, the opening theme song of which explained, when you hop off the plane, check in. Penthouse suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Because if not, shit get hot. You better check in. The quote unquote check in included both a payment to the Big U Enterprise as well as requesting permission from Henley to conduct certain activities, including acts of violence that were sanctioned by Big U Enterprise. As Henley described in a document.
And this big guy just comes over here like Debo and just takes all your equipment. Like, how do you go back to Fox or NBC and say, listen, I just got robbed for all the equipment because we didn't check in with Big U? Like, that is so crazy. Like, your job cannot be done because you did not check in. You're not even a part of a gang. Like, that is so weird to me. I don't understand how he thought he was able to even establish this type of structure around a city that is strongly based upon Hollywood, hip hop, and social media, and all these other likenesses of such. It's crazy to me that he was able to do this for so long. But again, like they said in the beginning, he was working with the feds with certain incriminating things that he was doing or activities that was going on. He was definitely snitching.
Film that he produced about his life titled Hip Hop Uncovered. It says, if I don't pick up the phone, that can mean death for somebody. As Henley stated in the Nothing to Something podcast, you're gonna check in. I mean, you could choose not to, but it's gonna be a problem. If you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences. You feel like you got something bigger than what's there, and that not checking in is basically an act of war. It ain't not one human being who's not gonna check in. While members and associates of the Big U Enterprise used Big U and the Big U Enterprise's history and reputation to control Los Angeles through violence, fear, and intimidation, Big U simultaneously attempted to create an air of legitimacy for the Big U Enterprise by promoting himself as a reformed gang member focused on bettering his community through purported nonprofit organizations that he founded, such as Developing Options, and by soliciting donations from celebrities and grants from governments and foundations to these charitable organizations. In actuality, Big U and other members and associates of the Big U Enterprise use these purported nonprofit entities to enrich and further the objectives of Big U Enterprise, including by embezzling funds meant as charitable donations, using the nonprofit entities to fraudulently apply for government assistance, using the nonprofit entities to falsify employment and financial records to personally benefit members and associates of the Big U Enterprise. It says members and associates of the Big U Enterprise would discipline other members and associates who acted in ways seen as detrimental to the enterprise, or other individuals who were seen as disrespecting Big U Enterprise or its members, including through threats and acts of violence such as assault, kidnapping, and murder. Henley, Robinson, Martin, and Williams is loose cannon, remember, committed and arranged robberies to enrich the Big U Enterprise, further the extortions committed by Big U Enterprise, and to create the impression
he had something to do with Nipsey Hussle's thing. Again, look how it states those three were in charge of the decision making or the planning of these alleged robberies, the conspiracy to do other activities. That is so daunting to me that he would have something to do with everything else, but not the Nipsey Hussle scenario. And I feel like he said that story, the way he said that story, to further the thought process of it just being Big U and not him, to cover his tracks. Because if I say this now, it makes me look good rather than somebody else finding out later that I got a phone call about Nipsey Hussle's passing, instead of me saying it now and making it look like it was all Big U and not me. He had something to do with it.
that Big U Enterprise controlled Los Angeles. Henley, Robinson, and Martin extorted individuals in Los Angeles for purported protection money, when such protection was actually from violence committed by the Big U Enterprise itself. The Big U Enterprise. Much of the Big U Enterprise's structure in affiliation with the Rolling 60s is in the public domain. In the television series Hip Hop Uncovered, which Big U executive produced, he detailed the history of the Rolling 60s and his involvement with the gang. Big U admitted he was a Rolling 60s member from the first generation. Big U advised that the Rolling 60s were a large Crip gang known to instill fear in the community. Big U claimed that he did not have gang-related tattoos because people already knew where he was from and it was never a question. A similar quote that Big U often repeated when asked why he had no gang tattoos is that it isn't on you, it's in you. After encountering legal trouble as a juvenile, Big U moved from California to Chicago. Big U admitted elsewhere to being on the run and conducting illegal drug activities while he was in Chicago. While Big U was living there, he decided to
Wait, pause. Did he just say Big U used to live in Chicago? What's so funny is Nipsey Hussle had a tour date in Chicago, particularly around his third or fifth year, maybe touring with Big U. Big U had put him on a tour bus and also did an interview about this guy that he knew used to, how can I put this? He used to affix certain narcotics through tour buses with artists. But this particular time, he had got on a bus and asked Nipsey if he had a pew pew. Nipsey had stated yes, but it wasn't on him. It was on someone else. So the boys ran up on the bus and arrested everybody on the bus and confiscated the pew pew. Now, everybody started looking at Big U funny because they thought Big U had something to do with it. Because, of course, it's weird. You ask me if I have it. I say yes. You get off the bus and all of a sudden the boys run up in here. But it further elaborates the conspiracy about him also having something to do with getting them robbed as well. Because after the whole pew pew scenario didn't go through, they had got robbed later on that night after the concert was done.
Moved back to Los Angeles to participate in the gang war after an associate of his was murdered. At that time, Big U noted his mentality was that we were hunting. To us, it wasn't about fighting. It was about guns. My philosophy was the gun can get you any and everywhere you need to be. After Big U returned to Los Angeles in the 1980s, he became known as a fighter for the Rolling 60s by fighting other gang members. Big U has recalled that those fights were about dominating the Rolling 60s competition. Big U remembered he and approximately 200 other Rolling 60 gang members went to a Run DMC concert at the Long Beach Convention Center to establish and maintain their dominance within Los Angeles-based street gang scene. Henley characterized his and the Rolling 60s moral code at the time as get them before they get you. Throughout the 1980s, Henley fostered a fierce and earned reputation for violence, which included multiple charges for first-degree murder, as well as a charge for attempted murder of a peace officer. According to these statements, Big U believed that by 1987, he had cemented his reputation as a tough person who should not be crossed. Big U recounted serving time in county jail, where he beat up other inmates for the purpose of establishing a pecking order. Big U was also earning money through the drug trade in other cities, such as Minneapolis, where he realized he had influence over the Rolling 60s gang members. When Big U was 22 years old, he claimed to stop selling drugs and transitioned into a different racket. He believed his moniker, Big U, was so big and ominous that every time he would go through a door, he really was a beast, or at least that was his mentality. Despite having such power within the Rolling 60s, Big U did not have a reliable source of income outside of the drug trade. Big U subsequently connected with hip-hop artist Kenneth Green, aka Papa LQ, and became his manager. In the docuseries, Papa LQ recounted that Big U was in tune with both the community and gang culture. Big U also became the manager of a hip-hop artist Ricardo Emmanuel Brown, aka Corrupt, who was a self-admitted Rolling 60s gang member. In 1991, Big U was found guilty and sentenced to 23 years in state prison for robbery, and as he admitted, he was also charged with kidnapping. While Big U was incarcerated, he stated that Corrupt maintained contact with him and ensured that he was kept abreast of developments in the music industry. In 2022, on the podcast Dub C and the C-Mac show, Big U described himself as an enforcer in prison and recounted knocking somebody's eyeball out of their socket, as well as committing stabbings. In 2004, Henley was released from prison. In the docuseries, hip-hop artist Snoop Dogg characterized Big U as institutionalized. Snoop Dogg said, "You say the wrong thing, you get uffed up." He was short-tempered and serious about the shit he was on. Something about him I liked because I felt like he was a leader. Big U claimed that he was focused on healing his community when he returned home from prison, and according to Big U, his primary objective was to effect change and lift his community to a better place instead of destroying it. Big U's own words, though, show the falsity of his claimed reformation. For example, on December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, Big U explained his motivation for committing murders on behalf of the Big U enterprise, stating, "What you guys see on the internet, y'all keep hearing other people who don't have nothing to talk about but sell. Let me explain something to you. If you would have had a problem with any man, color, creed, king, or kind, the issue would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. It ain't no kid nothing. And it's damn near nobody who been in this motherfucker longer than me that can stand against me and me being who I am. If I had a problem with any man, and this wouldn't be so funny to me, I'm still who they say I am." Similarly, on April 23rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Big U discussed gang politics with another co-conspirator and stated, "I'm retired, an activist. I'll pull up on your block right now and show up and show out. That's what happened to the last people that thought I was retired." According to the docuseries, as Big U transitioned to life in Los Angeles following incarceration, he returned to the hip-hop industry. Corrupt connected Big U with Suge Knight, the former chief executive officer of Death Row Records. Big U recounted that Suge Knight assisted him financially when he was released from prison. Big U referred to himself as the Blue Suge Knight, and as of 2004, Big U was widely regarded as the leader of the Rolling 60s. Because of this reputation, Big U was well positioned to ultimately form and lead Big U Enterprise. In approximately 2008, Big U formed a relationship with the hip-hop artist Aramis Joseph Ashkadam, aka Nipsey Hussle. After several years, Big U temporarily left the industry after he had been falling out with Nipsey Hussle related to some equipment that was at Big U's shop. Big U recounted in the docuseries that Nipsey Hussle made a diss song about him, and I think the song they're talking about there is Nipsey Hussle's song "You Don't Got a Clue." But Big U said that he is a scrapper, not a rapper. Henley stated in this docuseries that even after they settled their differences, he picked up Nipsey Hussle one morning so that Nipsey Hussle could get disciplined for the diss song. However, Nipsey Hussle's brother intervened and told Big U that Nipsey Hussle was not going anywhere. LAPD reports documented that violence erupted, and when LAPD officers arrived on the scene, a firearm was present and had been discharged. And if anybody is confused about what I'm reading, back a couple of years ago, Black Sam was actually arrested because of this altercation. Nipsey, Big U, Black Sam, they got into it. Black Sam ended up firing a shot into the air to kind of try to calm the situation down. That's what they're talking about right here. It says in 2019, Nipsey Hussle was murdered by a member of the Rolling 60s. Now it goes on to lay out some more. It says the check-in. Big U and his enterprise are widely known for requiring a check-in for out-of-town entertainers or gang members that come to Los Angeles. As Big U described in the docuseries, "If I don't answer the phone, it can mean death for someone else. Everywhere there's someone like me, and you can't put a monetary value on his touch in hip-hop." After more than 3 decades as a Rolling 60s member and several years managing famous hip-hop artist, Big U was widely regarded as an original gangster or OG. In the docuseries, record producer Andre Young, aka Dr. Dre, explained that it is very helpful to have an OG who can clear the streets. Within this operating environment, Henley instituted the concept of the check-in when hip-hop artists and other celebrities visited Los Angeles. How the check-in works. The check-in is a term used when someone travels outside of their home city to another home city, and during that travel, the individual must check in or meet with local street representatives of said city to pay a tax or a fee for permission to both move freely and to have an event or conduct business in that other city without the risk of harassment or danger from criminal elements. While Big U and other supporters attempted to persuade the public that the check-in provides safety and security for those who do so, as set forth hereon, Big U and his enterprise also manufacture the very danger that they purport to protect against. According to Big U's statements in the docuseries, as corroborated by our investigation, some visiting hip-hop artists and other individuals pay Big U a fee to check in if they are not from Los Angeles. James Anthony, aka Bimmy, and Steve LaBelle, the CEO of A2Z Entertainment, stressed that it is important to know the right people, such as Big U, when visiting places like Los Angeles. However, as podcaster Livingston Allen, aka DJ Academics, explained in the docuseries, the check-in is analogous to a commission for the gang or neighborhood where the OG is from. Christian Anthony Mathis, aka Trick Trick, explained in the docuseries that he enforces the check-in in Detroit, Michigan. Trick Trick added, "Come without permission. I don't want to hear shit you gotta say. I created these laws, so I enforce them. All we coming for is our portion." Trick Trick further explained that he instituted a no-fly zone in Detroit in which artists could not perform in the city unless Trick Trick was paid. Without paying a commission to an OG's organization, such as Big U Enterprise, visitors to Los Angeles are at risk of violence. Big U also provided examples of individuals who do not check in with him until it's too late, such as the rap artist Taekwon Bowman, aka Quando Rondo, whom Big U discussed in another interview and was later targeted in a murder for hire plot when his associate Lil Pad was killed. When defending this practice in interviews, Big U has stated that it's no different than when a Learjet flies over United States airspace. They want to know who you are. Big U said that his practice is no different, which I believe indicates that he purports to own and control Los Angeles through Big U Enterprise. How Big U responds to failures to check in. In 2022, the FBI interviewed a cooperating witness known as CW1 who told the FBI about these check-ins. CW1 said that he knew Big U, who was a Rolling 60s member. He also said that Big U led a money-making gang that was distinct from the Rolling 60s, referring to the Big U Enterprise. According to CW1, rap artists, athletes, and other individuals needed to pay Henley a fee when they visited Los Angeles. CW1 believed that the fees that Big U collected were extortion payments. CW1 then recounted that a large buy-in dice game occurred in Los Angeles in June 2019. The game involved the professional boxer AB, AB's associates, and several prominent NBA players. According to CW1, AB and his associates fixed the game and cheated the NBA players out of millions of dollars using teased dice. Following that game, Big U directed a group of Big U Enterprise associates to rough up AB, who did not check in with Big U, and to get the money back from him on behalf of the cheated NBA players. Multiple members of the Rolling 60s ultimately arrived, and Big U used them to press AB. CW1 said that Big U was involved with the incident because Big U was involved in or would approve of any dice game or similar events, such as parties involving large sums of money and prominent NBA players and celebrities in Los Angeles. Multiple persons involved in the incident who have since been interviewed, including former NBA players, confirmed that Henley was paid $100,000 for negotiating this debt. However, each was later approached by associates of AB and told they still owed money. CW1 was aware of other instances where NBA players or other celebrities would need to work with and get approval in advance from Big U to ensure their safety at events in Los Angeles, such as parties, gambling games, and advertising shoots. CW1 said that these celebrities would have to seek and or pay Big U for protection and approval or face retaliation from Big U Enterprise. At the outset of the investigation, Victim 1 was identified as an extortion victim. Victim 1 is described further below, and it's got a description here. It says Victim 1 has a criminal history that includes arrest for narcotics conspiracy and distribution in violation of Title 21, for which he is pending sentencing, robbery in violation of California Penal Code Section 211, as well as a felony conviction for human moving of a minor in violation of California Penal Code Section 236. Victim 1 will likely receive cooperation credit based on this case in his unrelated pending drug case from the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Ohio. Now, I don't know who this person is, but man, they did a lot to try to help us identify it. It says from April 14, 2022 until April 15, 2022, Victim 1 conducted a consensually monitored meeting with Big U and other unidentified individuals. During the meeting, Big U told Victim 1 and others that he got into it with AB after AB cheated a current NBA All-Star out of $1.5 million and a former NBA All-Star out of $5 million. Big U also said that he charged the players $100,000 so that he could get their money back from AB. A confidential informant involved with the cheating scheme corroborated this information, and that AB was confronted for failing to check in with Big U regarding the game. It says supposedly legitimate businesses and charities used by the Big U enterprise. Big U and Martin formed the independent record label Unique Music in 1996. In 2004, Henley formed Developing Options, for which Big U is CEO and Martin is the chief financial officer. It says Developing Options does business as many other entities, including the Crenshaw Rams youth football team, which is designed to give underprivileged children a safe outlet in sports with a chance to build up skills for the future, including athletic scholarships. According to its website, Developing Options uses advocacy, education, resources, training, and development and sports to achieve its objectives. In the docuseries, Big U indicated that Developing Options was a platform he used to help individuals get to college instead of going to jail. Many other publicly available recordings online show Big U describing the structure of Developing Options, how it was funded, and what it claims to do for the community. Since approximately 2015, Developing Options has been the recipient of an annual $550,000 as part of a GRYD program overseen by the city of Los Angeles. From July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2023, Developing Options was allotted $2.352 million from the city of Los Angeles. From that, Big U has drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars purportedly in salary. The GRYD program has an executive mandatory handbook that is appended to each contract and that Developing Options, like every other GRYD contractor, must comply with. The detailed and extensive handbook has many requirements that include extensive criminal background checks, compliance training and approval of employees, attendance at meetings, logging activities, and liaisoning with local law enforcement, among other requirements. Based on my review of documents in the course of this investigation, Developing Options appears to have failed to comply with some or potentially all of those requirements. Henley further solicits donations to Developing Options from celebrities, companies, foundations, and other entities, which the victim donors believe will further a charitable purpose, but often instead are embezzled into Big U's personal bank account. As discussed in further detail below, Big U, Robinson, and Martin, and other Big U enterprise co-conspirators utilize Developing Options as a platform to conduct both violent crimes and financial crimes under the guise of gang intervention work. Henley also fraudulently applied for federal pandemic relief loans for his entities, including Developing Options, Unique Music, and other businesses. The loans and or advances he successfully obtained are discussed further below. Similarly, Big U and Martin helped one of their employees at Developing Options, i.e. Blanton, to fraudulently apply for a mortgage by manipulating his income records. The Big U enterprise is committed to financially enriching its members and associates by stealing or cheating its victims out of money and property. Section D, racketeering activity and murder of RW. It says, as set forth below, there is probable cause to believe that Big U murdered victim RW on January 25th, 2021, and dragged his body into the desert in North Las Vegas. This is something that I went over in my video of these guys getting indicted, if y'all missed that, but I'm sure they're going to go over here. It says, on that morning, NLVPD detectives discovered the body of RW lying in the desert near the Apex landfill. RW had been shot multiple times in his body and had been dragged and left in a ditch not far from Interstate 15. Hours before his homicide, RW was at the studio of Witness 2 with Henley. NLVPD investigations revealed that RW was one of Big U's recording artists and was at the studio as a guest of Big U, recording for Unique Music, the independent record label that Big U and Martin co-founded. According to a studio witness, Witness 1, who was employed as a security guard for the recording studio, Big U was one of the last people seen with RW prior to RW's homicide. Witness 1 also stated that Robinson drove Big U to Las Vegas from Los Angeles in a dark gray Lexus, that Witness 1, in his security capacity, encountered Big U and Robinson when they arrived at the studio and had words with them because he did not know who they were. Witness 1's statements to NLVPD at the outset of the murder investigation have been corroborated by other witnesses and cell phone location data, among other evidence. Further investigation revealed motive, opportunity, obstruction, inculpatory statements, and more from Henley and other members and associates of Big U Enterprise. The murder and connection to the Big U Enterprise. On January 20th, 2021, 5 days days before the murder and 3 days before Big U and Robinson drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, RW recorded a diss song that NLVPD later obtained. In it, RW rapped about the person who had money, that RW would be shot in the face for thinking shit's funny, and referenced a 38 revolver with no trace. Based on my knowledge of this investigation and conversations with others, I believe that in this diss song, RW was dissing Big U, referring to Big U as the bro that makes some money, and that RW may get shot in the face for thinking his lackadaisical use of the studio and general representation by Unique Music is funny. RW was shot days later in the face, apparently with a revolver that left no shell casings. It is unknown whether Big U heard these lyrics prior to the murder. The effectiveness of the Big U enterprise is premised on Big U's stature as the most feared man in Los Angeles, as such ensuring that no one disrespects Big U and that any such perceived disrespect is met with reprehensible violence. It is a core tenet of the Big U enterprise, and even more so that disrespect is displayed publicly, like in front of extortion victims. As Henley himself stated on an intercepted call in 2023, "Can't nobody beef with me, cause if he do, I'ma kill him, period. I am going to M-word him." And they had that on a wiretap call. That's crazy. As Robinson explained in a surreptitious recording, when Big U got out, he said, "I'm the toughest dude, and here's my body of work to prove it. And you know, I'm the only one still killing people every day. The rest of y'all are retired. I didn't." They understand that. Because the Big U Enterprise's existence relies and thrives on fear and violence, perception is paramount. As witness to explain, Big U, through Big U Enterprises entity Unique Music, was using witnesses to expensive, valuable recording studio to record the Big U Enterprises artist, RW, for free, based on the fear and power dynamic imposed over witness 2 by Big U for years, and by taking a lackadaisical approach to the studio time that Big U had secured for free, RW was wasting that time. I believe that RW wasting the time, thereby disparaging Big U's name and his enterprise's reputation, and potentially flouting that disrespect with the lyrics of the diss song, led to a dispute between Big U and RW. The dispute was so serious that Big U and Robinson drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas to confront RW, and that dispute then turned deadly. Throughout our investigation, no investigator, family member, witness, or any third party has ever identified any individuals that would have a motive or opportunity to murder RW except for Big U. As discussed herein, Big U's motive for murdering RW was in the interest of Big U Enterprise. It says here Big U's cell phone location corroborates his involvement in RW's murder. It says, "I have reviewed the cell phone location information obtained via search warrants by the NLVPD for 2 phones associated with Big U for the time before, during, and after the murder. According to Witness 1, Witness 2, and one of RW's friends who was visiting him in Las Vegas the day he was murdered, as well as an analysis of Big U's phones, Big U and Robinson arrived in Las Vegas on January 23rd, 2021. The night before the murder. Big U's phone location data and witnesses showed that he arrived at an Airbnb on Round Rock Drive in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this Airbnb is the Airbnb that RW was staying at prior to the homicide. In the middle of the night, Big U, through Unique Music, was paying for the Airbnb. Surveillance footage from in front of the Airbnb showed a dark gray or silver sedan arriving at the Airbnb and leaving shortly after. The surveillance video also showed Big U at the Airbnb. On January 24th, 2021, the night of the murder, at approximately 7:04 p.m., Big U arrived at the studio. According to witnesses, at approximately 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., RW arrived at the studio and recorded a song from approximately 11 until midnight.
That song was
on
a diss
January
track.
25th, 2021, at approximately 12:37 a.m. Big U left the studio, and the dark gray Lexus in which he and Robinson had driven to the studio was no longer there. At approximately 12:58 a.m., Big U's phones stopped reporting location data of any kind, with the last data recorded within the vicinity of the studio. At approximately 1:13 a.m., surveillance footage at the Airbnb again revealed a dark gray or silver sedan arriving at the Airbnb. RW exited the passenger side of the vehicle and entered the Airbnb. A few minutes later, at approximately 1:20, RW exited the Airbnb with the suitcase, put the suitcase in the trunk, and got in the dark gray or silver sedan, which then departed. The Airbnb, though, was rented for another day, and RW was not set to leave until a flight scheduled for the following day came. Both of Big U's phones did not begin reporting location data again until approximately 2:15 a.m. Based on investigator test drives and research, the drive from the studio to the Airbnb would take roughly 17 minutes. After Big U's phones stopped reporting location data when they left the vicinity of the studio, the dark sedan arrived with RW.
That when you turn your phone off, it's actually allowing no data to be transmitted. But what they don't understand is that even if the phone is off, whatever location you was previously at, it's going to give a signal. The signal is going to go out. And when you turn it back on, the signal goes instantly to the next tower that's available. But the cell phone company still is able to transmit whatever data is in that phone or whatever location you went through, because at the same time, even though your phone is off, it still sends out a signal. Somehow, some way, these phones have way too much technology in them to even think that you can just turn your phone off and it's done. No, you still have apps that are running. You still have, even if you put it on do not disturb or you put it on airplane mode, it's still going to be a signal that's going to be transmitted. And now they don't have to go through the cellular towers. They can go through the data of the company that the phone goes. So let's say if it's Apple, they will go to Apple, and Apple will give them a printout of everything that's transpired on the phone prior to the phone being turned off and before it got turned on. That doesn't eliminate you from being put at that spot or applicated in a murder. Like, no. Big U.
At the Airbnb 15 minutes later, which is consistent with traffic patterns after midnight. The drive from the Airbnb to the location where RW's body was found and then to the location where Big U's phones began reporting data again would take roughly 42 minutes. The time from when RW left the Airbnb to when Henley's phone began reporting again is 48 minutes. The approximate time needed for the drive plus a murder and moving of the body, particularly in the middle of the night without traffic. One of Big U's phones then made a call to Robinson, who witness one reported was still at the studio, which is corroborated by Robinson's phone location data. According to witness one, Robinson asked witness one if he had seen Big U, which witness one found odd since Robinson was Big U's driver and bodyguard. At approximately 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m., Big U returned to the studio alone in the dark gray Lexus and spoke with witness one, who reported that Henley appeared to be drenched in either sweat or water. Henley told witness one that he was coming back from the gym. RW's body was found hours later at approximately 9 a.m. One of the NLVPD detectives investigating the murder believed that RW died at the location near the side of the road on I-15 after he observed the roadway contained a distinct patch of blood which trailed down the hill from the roadway into the desert along with drag marks. Big U's phone location data shows that he departed Las Vegas to return to Los Angeles at approximately 10 a.m. Evidence from the scene. Officers and medical professionals responded to the scene of RW's murder, and a subsequent autopsy found that RW died from multiple gunshot wounds. The responders noted that RW was not dressed for the weather, which was cold and inclement on the night of the murder. DNA was collected from RW's ankle and sock area, consistent with the direction that RW was dragged into the desert off of the highway. The DNA profile obtained was not complete, likely due to the aforementioned inclement weather of the night of the murder, and analysis of Big U's DNA profile was inconclusive, such that he could not be excluded as the contributor to the DNA. Robinson, on the other hand, was excluded as a potential contributor to the DNA found on RW. The next point is Big U arranges for the recording equipment from the studio to be removed and surveillance video to be destroyed. Witness one told NLVPD detectives that DS, which is one of Big U's associates, removed video recording equipment from the studio a couple of days after the homicide, including destruction of surveillance video data that would have shown RW and Big U at the studio shortly before RW murder. Witness 2 told the FBI that Big U ordered Witness 1 and Witness 2 to leave the premises, quote unquote, take a walk,
And this is what's so
prior
dumb.
to the
Why does
removal
Big U
of the
put his
video
face
recording
in
equipment.
everything?
Witness 1
This is how you know
explained
ego is
that 3
driven by
relatively new surveillance
having
and
this
working DVR
monstrosity
devices have been
of
removed from the
personality
studio
where he
and that
controls
all
everything
security
around him.
cameras were
Because you
disabled.
did not have to get
Witness
your hands
number
dirty
1
in this
stated
scenario.
that
You could
the
have been
replacement DVRs
somewhere
were
else
installed, but
when
that they
all
did
this stuff
not
took
work.
place. But
Witness
come
number
on.
3,
Driving
who had previously installed the
out, like,
DVR equipment at the recording
guilty.
studio, also
It's like
spoke with the
he's
FBI.
so
According to
ahead of
Witness
everybody.
3, on January
His ego
31st,
makes him behind
2021,
everyone.
Witness 3 went to the studio to fix video cameras that were not working at the studio after Witness 2 called Witness 3 to fix them. Witness 3 analyzed the equipment and concluded that the DVR system was unplugged or turned off. According to Witness 1, DS then sent him money to purchase new DVR equipment for the studio. I believe that there is probable cause to conclude that footage from the DVR system would have shown an altercation between Big U and RW on the night of January 24, 2021, and at a minimum, Big U and RW leaving the studio together shortly before RW's murder. Bullet point 6, interviews of family witnesses and Big U Enterprise associates. It says on January 27, 2021, NLVPD detectives spoke with RW's family, which was the first time his family learned that RW had died. On January 28, 2021, NLVPD detectives again spoke with RW's family. Generally, his family confirmed that RW lived in California and worked as a musician. He was recently working with a music producer, Big U, who was also from California, and Big U had booked RW's Airbnb and travel. RW's family explained that RW was close with Big U and trusted him. Big U coached RW in football since RW was young. RW lived with Henley for a time while in high school. At some point, Big U believed RW had wore a chain that belonged to Big U's son to school without permission, and RW was kicked out of Henley's house. PM, which is RW's aunt, added that she called Big U on January 27, 2021 after learning that RW had been killed. Big U claimed that he had not seen or heard from RW and did not know his whereabouts. PM confronted Big U about arranging the trip for RW to record in Las Vegas, and then Big U admitted he had done so. PM had overheard Big U speaking with someone named KF, whom investigators later interviewed about RW's travel arrangement. In a later interview during the pendency of this investigation, PM said that Big U would call her on a weekly basis prior to the murder. But after that call on January 27, 2021, PM never again heard from Big U. NLVPD also learned that CA, a friend of RW, spent the weekend in Las Vegas and visited RW at RW's Airbnb. According to CA, at about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, January 24, 2021, Big U came to the Airbnb and asked RW why he did not show up to the music studio the day prior on January 23rd. RW claimed that he did not have a ride to the studio. CA reported that it was odd that Big U actually took the time to show up at the Airbnb in Las Vegas to confront RW. CA and his family left for California Sunday afternoon, January 24th, at about 2 p.m., and CA had not heard from RW since. Throughout the entire investigation, the family members and friends who have been interviewed have pointed to Big U as the person they believe responsible for RW's murder. Within days, multiple people were sending Instagram messages to Big U demanding answers for what happened to RW, all of which went without response. NLVPD searched RW's Instagram. RW's final Instagram message to Big U regarding the price of a song was sent on January 24th, 2021 at 1:57 p.m. Big U did not respond until January 26th at 8:14 in the morning, almost 24 hours after Big U left Las Vegas following RW's murder. In the meantime, the evidence showed that Big U had seen RW at the studio the night of January 24, 2021, after RW had sent that Instagram message, and Henley presumably would have discussed the price of the song with him at that time. Thus, it appears that Big U sent the message on January 26, 2021 in an attempt to plead ignorance that RW was murdered and to avoid suspicion from law enforcement of his involvement in the murder. So they're saying that You know, Big U sent him a message after he was killed, but there would be no reason for him to send that message because they know for a fact that they had some interaction the day before Big U sent this message. So they're saying he only sent it as a cover-up. On February 3rd, 2021, NLVPD conducted a recorded interview of KF, the person RW's aunt heard Big U talking to about RW's travel arrangements. KF was the account manager for Unique Music and handled the artist's travel needs and expenses. KF used KF's mother's Uber account to coordinate rides for RW while RW was in Las Vegas. KF confirmed he worked directly for Big U and had arranged for RW's flights to Las Vegas. RW was supposed to fly home on Tuesday, January 26, 2021, possibly in the morning, which was over 24 hours after he was seen leaving the Airbnb with his suitcase in a gray or silver sedan, and then he was found dead later. It says KF also arranged living accommodations for RW at the Airbnb for the week of January 19th, 2021 through January 26, 2021. Additionally, KF explained that part of his job was to arrange for the transportation of RW via Uber to and from the studio. In reviewing the audio of this interview, it is clear that KF hesitated when answering several questions and appeared to be elusive about several answers. KF claimed he did not have a phone number for Big U and he had no way to get in touch with him. KF eventually provided Big U's phone number, but still claimed he did not know how to get in touch with him and did not know when he would see him again. KF also claimed he did not know the address of the recording studio in Las Vegas, even though KF was the person tasked with making the transportation arrangements for RW to get to the studio. KF then stated that he merely provided Cash App transfers to RW so that RW could book the Uber rides before backtracking and stating that he did not order Uber rides for him. Similarly, KF claimed that he did not know the name of the music studio or the engineer RW was scheduled to work with. KF advised that RW made music and was supposed to make one song per day while he was in Las Vegas. KF said RW did not go to the studio on January 19, 2021, but he was supposed to go every day after that, but probably did not go every day. On one day, RW did not go and said he would double up the following day. RW texted KF and said he was enjoying himself and doing well. When KF called him, he did not answer. KF texted him, but at a certain point, the text message went green instead of blue. The last time KF received a text message from RW was at 11:58 p.m. on January 24, 2021, less than 2 hours before his death. When the FBI attempted to interview KF, he told them he did not want to speak with them. Soon after the interview of KF, NLVPD located HT, whose account was used to rent these Airbnbs. She explained that she did not authorize the use of her Airbnb account and was very upset about it. She explained that her godbrother, KF, used her Airbnb account to book a room in Las Vegas and then learned that someone had been killed during that stay. HT explained that KF used her account to book the room, but he used his own credit card. HT received a notification regarding the booking and asked KF why he used her account to book a room. KF apologized and claimed he did not realize he booked it on her account. At the time, HT said she did not think it was a big deal and did not press the issue. HT did not know RW and explained that she worked in the medical field. Since KF had used HT's Airbnb account to reserve the room, HT intercepted messages between the Airbnb host and KF and provided them to law enforcement. HT saw a message from KF asking if the Airbnb property had video surveillance and confronted KF about the messages because she did not want her account to be associated with any problems. KF told her about RW's murder and said he was trying to figure out what happened. Number 7, Title III interceptions. In 2023, after NLVPD attempted to interview parties about the murder, Big U and his associates made several inculpatory calls regarding the murder, which were intercepted by law enforcement pursuant to a Title III wiretap. First, NLVPD went to Henley's home, but he was not there after leaving a business card and informing Big U's wife that they were there following the 2-year anniversary of RW's homicide. We're new to the case and we're just talking to everyone who was close to RW. His wife called him from Big U's father's phone. They said that Big U's wife had not done this before during the entirety of the wiretap. Big U answered, "What's up, Dad?" further showing the anomalous nature of the call. His wife then explained that detectives came by their home and were looking for him and talking to other people. Big U asked how many police officers, but was otherwise extremely circumspect. In the hundreds of hours of calls captured that I have listened to, Big U's voice was notably and conspicuously different on this call. It says that Big U's wife lied to police, stating that Big U only lived at his house on 62nd Street, when in actuality, the FBI observed on surveillance and in the months of the cell site location data that Henley was there most nights unless he was traveling. After the phone call with his wife, Big U did not return home for 2 weeks. Again, something he had not done during the entirety of the surveillance or cell site location data received by law enforcement. Moreover, that night, victim 1 paid an extortion fee to Robinson, who was driving Big U's Mercedes. Again, Robinson driving Big U's Mercedes was something that had not occurred before during the course of this investigation. Based on this officer's training and experience, he believed that Big U not returning home for 2 weeks and having one of his associates driving his car were attempts made by Big U to avoid law enforcement regarding RW's murder. On or about February 14, 2023, at approximately 12:05 p.m., Big U called Martin. During this intercepted call, Henley told Martin that he wanted to meet with him at Martin's auto shop to discuss the police investigation into RW's murder. The following is a transcript of that conversation. Big U, 5 detectives went by my house this morning from Las Vegas, and they said they wanted to talk to me. You hear me? Martin said, yeah. Big U said, probably let you know. They was asking about RW, and I told them, static and call cuts out, a 2-year anniversary. 2-year anniversary. It was they wanted to follow up and talk to everybody who was close. And where you at? Martin said, I'm at the shop. Big U said, I'm pulling up on you. Martin said, okay. Based on other intercepts, I know that Big U believed the FBI may have been intercepting his telephone calls. Therefore, I believe Henley wanted to talk to Martin in person regarding the murder in order to avoid speaking on a telephone line that may be intercepted by law enforcement. Following the call to Martin, Big U immediately placed multiple calls to DS, the person who reportedly removed the video surveillance footage from the studio. The first few calls were not answered. Then Big U told DS he needed to meet with him. The following is a transcription of a portion of the conversation. Big U says, where you at? DS says, at the house, ready to jump in the shower. What you on? Big U said, I need to pull up on you. DS said, all right, I'm right here at the house. Big U said, all right, I gotta pull up on you. And unintelligible, DS said, how long you gonna be? Big U said, you ain't about to go nowhere, are you? DS said, nah, I'm here. Big U said, okay. DS said, I'll just jump in the shower though, just be ready. Big U said, okay. DS said, all right, for sure. And point 87 says, as discussed above, DS reportedly removed video surveillance evidence of Big U and RW's presence at the studio hours before the homicide, namely all of the security cameras and DVRs from the studio. On February 16, 2023, Big U was on the phone with DS, and Big U told DS that he was traveling to Las Vegas the following day where witness 2 was located. NLVPD had begun interviews of witnesses regarding RW's murder, and I believe that Big U may have been going to Las Vegas to confront witness 2 to see if he talked to law enforcement. On February 21st, 2023, Big U received a phone call from his son. Big U's son told him that NLVPD called him about RW and suggested that detectives had spoken to SH, Big U's wife, and Big U already. Big U told his son that nobody had spoken to the detectives and directed him not to talk to anyone anymore about RW. The same day, Big U called his wife to tell her that the NLVPD detectives had called their son about RW and what was said. Big U told his wife to call LD. LD is the mother of KF, Big U's employee who booked RW's travel, but he told her to call LD on FaceTime. Big U told SH to be careful about what she said over the phone. His wife said he had nothing to worry about. When the FBI approached LD about this, LD hired a lawyer who told law enforcement that her client had no memory of this and had nothing to do with it. The same day, Big U called Martin and told him that he had been trying to reach him on his other phone, possibly via FaceTime. Martin said that he was going to get his other phone. Big U requested for Martin to call him. Later that same day, Big U called Martin to confirm that he was at Martin's auto shop. Big U told Martin he was on his way to meet with him at this auto shop. Still later, Big U called Robinson. Robinson was at one of Big U's homes, and Big U said he was heading to meet Robinson. Based on my training and experience and knowledge of the investigation, I believe Big U was contacting Big U Enterprise members and associates, specifically those with knowledge of RW's murder, to ensure that any statements to law enforcement were either suppressed or consistent with one another. Section E says robbery in violation of the Hobbs Act and as racketeering activity. It says according to witnesses, including victim 1, and corroborated repeatedly by the wiretap and recorded meetings with Big U Enterprise members, the Big U Enterprise sets up and executes robberies throughout Los Angeles. Normally, Big U provides the target and the location, while the robbery is committed by the Big U Enterprise members or at the Big U Enterprise's direction using rolling 60s and other associates. The Big U Enterprise, as well as the individuals who personally commit the robberies, will take a cut and then often sell the robbery proceeds or give the robbery proceeds back to a victim as a power grab and to install fear of future robberies or violence. It says one such robbery occurred on July 5th, 2021 at an unlicensed bud dispensary in Los Angeles where victim 1 worked. Leading up to the robbery, the Big U Enterprise had been extorting victim 1 for years, and victim 1 had been paying the Big U Enterprise up to $25,000 per month when victim 1 was at the top of his earning capacity. Shortly before the robbery, however, victim 1 had ceased paying extortion to Big U Enterprise as victim 1 did not believe that it was necessary or that he was receiving any benefit from the payments. And on the day of the robbery, approximately 11 of Big U Enterprise's members and associates, including Robinson and Williams, both of whom victim 1 knew well as rolling 60s members, rushed into the dispensary armed with firearms and without masks. They demanded the belongings of anyone inside and stole cash and bud from the store before fleeing. At one point, they demanded a Rolex watch from one of the co-owners, but at Robinson's direction, they ended up letting him keep it. According to victim 1, while still at the dispensary, the robbers put victim 1 on the phone with Big U, who invited victim 1 to Big U's home. According to victim 1, when victim 1 arrived at Big U's Arlington premises, Robinson, Williams, and other robbers were there, as were the proceeds of their robbery. Inside, Big U told victim 1, "That's how you rob yourself." Big U then demanded $10,000 from this victim to ensure other robberies did not occur. Big U also directed victim 1 to identify other businesses or dispensaries that could be similarly robbed and assured victim 1 that the Big U Enterprise would compensate him for identifying any robberies. Big U then provided a portion of the robbery proceeds back to victim 1. Williams, and y'all remember Williams is Loose Cannon, right? Loose Cannon later admitted to this robbery and the aftermath on a podcast. On the No Jumper podcast, after stating that Loose Cannon was Big U's right-hand man, Loose explained, so basically he'll manipulate things. We'll go and do something, and then the same people we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later as we trying to count everything, and we be like, how the Loose Cannon then said that Big U would state, well, we just gonna give like 40,000 back. Whack 100, who is a rival counterpart of Big U's for the Bloods, was also on the podcast and stated, you know why he wanted to give the dude back 40, right? Because he was going to make the dude give him 20 for getting it back. Loose Cannon then agreed, of course. He did that to 2 famous rappers. Loose Cannon then detailed demanding $50,000 from the celebrity rapper RR, or they would kill the celebrity and rapper MM. Loose Cannon then said RR dropped off the $50,000 and Big U stopped answering the phone and they did not share any of the proceeds with him. And this is an interview that I covered on my channel. It was the first time I covered Loose Cannon on my channel because what he was saying in that podcast was wild. It says, according to further No Jumper and Vlad TV segments, Big U then served a cease and desist order on No Jumper, and this podcast episode was removed from the platform, although a recording of the episode remained available elsewhere online. Vlad TV been saying, I've never been named in any court cases for the longest time. Well, that all changes today, bro. It says Loose Cannon's recounting of this robbery occurred years after the robbery of victim 1's dispensary and years after victim 1 had already recounted and documented the robbery for the FBI. Point 2. Loose Cannon continues to commit and discuss robberies and other violent acts. Lately, Loose Cannon has claimed in multiple interviews that he is no longer affiliated with Big U, whom he now refers to as Big Useless or Big Uterus. However, Loose Cannon continues to discuss former Big U Enterprise business, to discuss and threaten violent assaults and robberies, and to actually commit the same. For example, on January 3rd, 2025, outside of the No Jumper podcast filming location in Los Angeles, Loose Cannon struck a victim in the head multiple times with a firearm and pointed the firearm at the back of his head, while 2 other suspects removed valuables from the victim, including jewelry, cash, and a cell phone in excess of $5,000. This is something that went viral literally just a couple of weeks ago. The victim lost consciousness during the incident, which was captured on video and posted to social media, apparently to stoke fear and boast of Loose Cannon's penchant for violence. After the incident, Loose Cannon posted a 7-minute video on his YouTube channel discussing the beating, stating that he used to be Big Useless's enforcer and that he loves to fight, and that the incident could have went a lot worse. Loose Cannon's post also played a portion of the assault. Similarly, on February 25th, 2025, Loose Cannon posted a video on his YouTube channel in which he threatened anyone that is at odds with him to do something bad to you, your mama, your daddy, anybody. In the same video, Williams walked through the checking in process and walked through the fact that he would rob any celebrity who did not check in, including at an Airbnb, a restaurant, a car wash, or anywhere. Loose Cannon also said that he was with Big U when rapper Rakim Allen, also known as PNB Rock, was robbed and killed, that they told him to comply and that they would get the jewelry later. Loose Cannon also walked through the kidnapping of a famous rapper that Loose and Big U committed together, and then discussed several Big U Enterprise associates being good in Los Angeles because they have checked in. Some of those mentioned were developing options donors or former NBA players who have provided hundreds of thousands of dollars as purported gifts to Big U personally. In February 2025, Loose Cannon also took part in and filmed a conversation with multiple people on YouTube in which Williams told another participant that you will lose your life, and then when Loose Cannon found him, that Loose was going to do something bad to him. And I got bullet point 3, further evidence of the Big U Enterprise's involvement in robberies. It says throughout this investigation, the FBI obtained many recordings of Big U Enterprise members and associates discussing robberies that they were committing or planning to commit. For example, on August 6, 2021, on a recorded call, Robinson told victim 1, trying to lick somebody, that ain't even hard. All this shit is just, this ain't working, man. I'm like, I'm in the wrong business, homie. In my training and experience and investigation into this case, lick is consistently used as slang for robbery. Similarly, on June 22nd, 2022, on another recorded call, Robinson told victim 1 that Big U had been asking Robinson if they needed to do a takeover, which I know based on my training and experience and participation in this investigation to mean takeover robbery of victim 1 at his bud dispensary again because victim 1 had not paid his extortion payments. Then on July 9, 2022, Big U told victim 1, we gonna rob someone. You with the bullshit? On July 31st, 2022, Big U told victim 1 that he needed $30,000 to pay his developing option staff and was considering a robbery and increased extortions to obtain the funds. Big U was also intercepted on a telephone call telling an auto shop owner that he knew how much he had paid the shop owner because the payment was proceeds from a robbery. In other Title III wiretap interceptions, I also heard Henley planning a robbery of an individual that had stolen equipment from a celebrity rapper using an Apple AirTag that was purportedly with the equipment. Big U, Martin, and others obtained firearms and began to stage the robbery to get back the equipment. However, when they arrived, the police also arrived, having been called by the celebrity rapper. I witnessed the staging of the robbery on surveillance before it was called off. On November 11, 2022, on another intercepted call, Mitchell, discussed above, and Big U coordinated how Mitchell would give Henley the proceeding about how much money should go to Big U. Then in multiple other intercepted calls and text messages, Big U talked with Blanton and Robinson to help Big U collect from Mitchell's associate. Talking about Mitchell, Blanton said they robbed a dude for some shit. They made a dude call his plug and then they booked him. Talking about further splitting the proceeds, Big U told Blanton, I'm going to grab half of that, whatever he got. I'm going to give it to Vay, and Vay can bring the rest of you. On a subsequent call, I heard Big U counting out money and saying that it ain't nothing but 2-3 racks. Blanton responded, Brick Baby said it was supposed to be between 5 to 7, man. Gotta make that call out to Brick. On April 11, 2023, Big U and Blanton again discussed an individual who was supposed to be robbed in the near future. Section F, extortion.
How does Big U say he's
Hobbs
not
Act. It
guilty,
says
yet
a
they have
significant portion of
innocent
the Big U
clause that is
Enterprises conduct
describing
consists of various
exactly what the crimes
extortion
were.
schemes in Los Angeles.
Thank you,
In
Lord.
addition to the check-in, the Big U Enterprise extorts both legitimate and illegitimate businesses alike, though it tends to focus on the lower hanging fruit of illegitimate or gray market businesses. One of his extortion victims, Victim 1, was a promoter and marketer who profited from club promotions, operating in interstate commerce and worked illegally or quasi-illegally marijuana dispensaries. As shown in the recorded conversations and controlled payments, Big U and Robinson were quite open in their threats of violence and intimidation if the victims did not pay the fee to Big U. As stated above, the July 5th, 2021 robbery was key to their scheme of extorting Victim 1, and that once Victim 1 stopped paying extortion fees to Big U, they robbed him to reinstate their control. At one point, Victim 1 asked in a recording what he was paying for, and Robinson explained that it was like a retainer, and that if and when Victim 1 was robbed, Victim 1 would not have to pay extra money to Big U for the return of his property. Of course, as discussed above, it was Big U Enterprise members and associates who were the ones who had robbed Victim 1, and they did charge Victim 1 for giving his things back by not returning the entirety of his property that they themselves stole and demanding more money and targets to rob. The evidence supporting the Big U Enterprises extortion activities include consensual recordings made by Victim 1 of phone calls, meetings, and controlled extortion payments. 2, statements describing being a victim of the extortion scheme from Victim 1. 3, Title III wiretap calls discussing extortion and payment. And 4, threats made to other individuals on Title III wiretap calls showing the modus operandi of the Big U Enterprises extortion racket. Examples of some of the extortion-related recordings obtained during this investigation include on 7/9/2021, 4 days after Big U Enterprises robbed Victim 1, as discussed above, consensually monitored call with Victim 1 in which Robinson asked Victim 1 with identifying additional robbery victims for Big U and Robinson, where Victim 1 would receive 25%, and noting that Big U was discussing that Victim 1 owed Big U money, having only paid a portion of what Victim 1 quote unquote owed. On September 2nd, 2021, consensually recorded a call in which Big U stated that any payments that Victim 1 receives from the other person Big U is extorting must be paid to Big U. On 9/3/2021, there was a consensually recorded call in which Robinson told Victim 1 that he needed to tell Big U something about the amount of money that Victim 1 would be paying. And Victim 1 said he could pay $500 or $1,000. On 9/15, there was a phone call between Robinson and Victim 1. And Robinson discussed how much Victim 1 could pay, but ultimately promised to cover for Victim 1 and allow him to pay the following day rather than face Big U's anger. On the 20th of that month, there was another phone call in which Big U and Victim 1 discussed how much money will go from an event that Big U, the Rolling 60s, Robinson, and Victim 1 were throwing. Big U stated that he wanted his money. Later in the day, Victim 1 and Robinson discussed how Victim 1 was being taxed by Robinson and Big U. On the 23rd, there was another phone call in which Big U discussed how another extortion victim was not paying. On 10/19/2021, another phone call in which Big U stated that he was taking over an account, referring to this dude DC, and that he would be taking every 5th table that is sold at this dude's club. 10/22/2021, another phone call, Big U asking Victim 1 why he was on the phone with him when he was coming to pick his money up. They then discussed how much would be paid electronically and how much would be paid in cash. Later that day, Robinson provided Victim 1 with the number to pay associate Tubbs. On 11/10/2021, another phone call in which Henley told victim 1 to get a bud shop up and running so he could pay some rent. 11/29/2021. Another phone call in which this Robinson guy told victim 1 to give Big U a weekly salary of $1,000. Robinson further advised that victim 1 gets in trouble when promising larger amounts. He also asked where this other victim, DC, lived because him and Big U were trying to DC up based on his non-payment. And they got this section. It says the FBI provided $500 in cash for the meeting and victim 1 paid that money to Big U. On 12/11/2021, there was a recorded phone call between Robinson and victim 1 where Robinson asked if victim 1 had money for Big U, saying that, well, I think he's going to want at least $1,000. On December 17, 2021, Robinson asked victim 1 how much he's going to have. They again discussed both cash and electronic payments. The following day, they continued a similar discussion regarding $1,000 to $2,000 in payments. On January 20th, 2022, another recorded phone call in which Robinson arranged a meeting that was also recorded. Everything that you see in bold is where the FBI is going to be involved. It says the FBI provided $1,000 in cash to victim 1, paid to Robinson for Big U. And remember, this was recorded. In the discussion, victim 1 discussed how Big U took the entire $30,000 from Deja Vu, which is discussed further below in connection with Big U, Robinson, and Martin extorting $30,000 on December 2nd, 2021. Robinson explained to victim 1 that he has taken way more than that and discussed Big U's spending after receiving payments. On February 17, 2022, another recorded phone call in which victim 1 requested an extension from Robinson regarding a payment. Robinson told victim 1 that he had been holding off Big U, but that Big U had been asking for payment. The FBI provided $1,000 in cash to victim 1, paid to Robinson on camera for Big U. February 19, 2022, another recorded phone call in which Big U called victim 1 and said, bring me my money. I need $1,500 real quick. Victim 1 told Big U that he had just paid Robinson $1,000 2 days ago. On April 3rd, 2022, another phone call. This time Robinson told victim 1 that Big U was increasing victim 1's taxes to $3,500. 4/9/2022. Robinson tells victim 1 the other individuals are paying Big U Enterprise $2,500 to $3,000 so that Big U could purchase a $30,000 necklace for his wife's birthday. 4/10/2022. Robinson tells victim 1 that Big U wanted to collect $2,000 from victim 1 every Monday. April 16, 2022. Big U told victim 1 that he needed a donation for his wife's birthday. Victim 1 told Henley that he already paid Robinson, and Big U responded that his math was wrong. 6/5/2022. Robinson and Big U demand that victim 1 stop doing business with Big U Enterprises rival WAC 100 because he was a rat. 6/22/2022. Robinson told victim 1 that Big U had been asking for money from victim 1 and that Big U asked if they needed to do a takeover of victim 1. 7/14/2022. Robinson tells victim 1 that Big U was angry and needed $2,000. 7/21/2022. Big U demanded more money from victim 1. He told him that he needed the money for taxes and EDD, which stands for Employment Development Department. 7/31/2022. Big U told victim 1 that he needed $30,000 in the next couple of weeks to pay his developing options staff and was considering a robbery and increased extortion payments to obtain the funds. Henley specifically said he did not care if they had to rob Peter to pay Paul. They needed to get down. Victim 1 then paid Big U $1,500 of his own money on camera. Big U then said, we bumped the weekly down to $1,500. August 4th, 2022. Robinson tells victim 1 he needs to pay some more. August 9th, 2022. Victim 1 paid Robinson $1,500 from the FBI on camera. Robinson and victim 1 discussed the history of payments victim 1 had made to Big U and that Robinson, according to Robinson, did all the work. Big U then arrived at the location. September 7th, 2022. Robinson tells victim 1 he needs more money, followed by Robinson consulting on victim 1's anxiety and fear of Big U. They discussed how victim 1 can get more time to make a payment and how to calm down Big U by paying a portion of what he owed. On September 15th, Robinson asked what time victim 1 would meet for money. Victim 1 then paid Robinson $2,000 of FBI provided funds on camera. During the conversation, victim 1 asked what he was paying for. Robinson said, if anyone come to rob you, you ain't got to pay extra money to get your shit back. Robinson described it as a street shield. Victim 1, though, has told agents that only Robinson and Big U have robbed him. In this same meeting, Robinson told victim 1 that Big U was the buffer and that Big U was the only OG still actively killing people. September 21st, 2022. Robinson asked victim 1 for his location so they could get a payment out of the way. Victim 1 then paid Robinson $1,000 of his own money on camera, 9/28/2022. Robinson arranged to meet the victim for another payment. He paid him $2,020 of his own money on camera, 10/2/2022. Robinson told victim 1 that if he was not in the middle of victim 1 and Big U, it would be very, very bad. Robinson also stated that there are 2 people that owe Big U Enterprise $200,000 and Robinson had yet to threaten them. 10/5/2022. Robinson wanted to pick up another payment. He paid $2,000 of FBI provided money on camera. 10/21/2022. Big U chastised victim 1 because someone associated with victim 1 stated that he was working with Big U. Big U told victim 1 that victim 1 had to pay Big U for victim's associate using his name. Victim 1 told Big U that he had nothing to do with it and questioned how to get the money from him. Big U repeatedly said to tie him up if that is what is necessary, but that he would not get involved. In the same call, Big U said that if victim 1 paid his rent, he would let him off for the weekly tax payment. 11/3/2022. Big U and Robinson have a phone call where Big U said that they needed to fix that motherfucker up or get our money. 11/10/2022. Victim 1 paid Robinson $2,000 from the FBI on camera. During this recorded interaction, Robinson told victim 1 to not answer if Big U called him because Big U was demanding $5,000 from him that day. December 1st, 2022. Victim 1 paid Robinson $2,000 on camera. $640 of it was victim 1's own money. Robinson told victim 1 that Robinson was taking 25 to 50% of the payments to Big U depending on the amount. Robinson then quoted Big U as saying that he was getting soft with victim 1, that Big U was going to up victim 1, and that Robinson was the only one saving this guy. 12/7/2022. Big U called victim 1 and stated that victim 1 owed Big U a lot of money and had to bring $2,000 weekly. February 15, 2023. Victim paid Robinson $500 of his own money on camera. 3/29/2023. Victim 1 paid Robinson another $1,500 of FBI provided money on camera. Robinson said that he was going to tell Big U that victim 1 only paid him $1,000. Additionally, Big U, Robinson, and Martin extorted victim 2 at Deja Vu, an international adult entertainment club at a location in Los Angeles on December 2nd, 2021, which Robinson and victim 1 later discussed on the consensually recorded phone calls that we just went over. As corroborated by recordings and interviews with victim 1, as well as public social media posts, Big U organized a birthday party at Deja Vu for himself and negotiated that he would receive roughly 33% of the bar proceeds from that night. Big U also promised that famous rappers would attend. He later then demanded the full profits from the night and threatened extreme violence if he was not paid the entire amount. Specifically on December 2nd, 2021, on another consensually recorded phone call, Big U called victim 1 to discuss the extortion payment related to Big U's birthday party at Deja Vu. Victim 1 previously promoted Deja Vu and had initially connected victim 2, the new promoter, with Big U about having Big U's birthday party there. Victim 2 had agreed to pay Big U $30,000 in exchange for celebrity rappers, including Cameron Thomas, aka Wiz Khalifa, and Clifford Harris Jr., aka T.I., as well as other famous guests to accompany Big U to Deja Vu for his birthday on December 2nd, 2021. Deja Vu promoted the event on social media using Wiz Khalifa's image, which would bring in more customers who wanted to party. The following is a transcription of a portion of the conversation between victim 1 and Big U the day of the party. Victim 1: I was trying to get you about $20,000. Big U: no, $30,000. Victim 1: I sold it for $30. The whole thing is for $30 and I got to get all the people. Big U: $30,000, cause this is viral. It's all over the city, got me into it with my wife and everybody else. And that's the number you told me, victim 1. But if Wiz don't come, Big U yelling at victim 1. Bruh, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'll tear that bitch up. It won't be a club there no more. You don't tell me if Wiz don't come, bruh. Victim 1, but it's what I sold. Big U, I wouldn't give a F. You knew T.I. weren't never coming. And T.I. said he was getting a motherfucking drop. That's on you and Vay. I don't want to hear nothing. You ain't gonna use my name all over this muff, and you need to bring me the money. Now, victim 1, I'm getting it from Tubbs and them later on. In like 2 or 3 hours, they gonna let me borrow some money. Big U, matter of fact, I'm gonna have my niece and them come and get it. Later in the call, victim 1 and Big U discussed various business details related to booking the event at the club and the revenue victim 2 was expected to earn from the event. Big U described his expectations for the event. Big U said there were going to be 5,006 in this mother that's gonna be pulling up. And if we got to tear that mother up, we are going to. Be ready for that or bring me my money. The night of December 2nd, 2021, Big U, Robinson, Martin, and countless Big U Enterprise associates showed up to Deja Vu. Wiz Khalifa, T.I., and the other promised guests did not arrive as promised. Victim 1
identified the way they have wiretapped the phone to have every piece of information detailed by column. And it's so strange that most people don't even get caught this way. Not 9 times out of 10, they normally do the phone warrants or searching for the phone after the crimes have been committed. But in this particular scenario, they have been watching him since 2020. This indictment is detailed, to say the least.
Watched as Robinson, Martin, and 3 other associates took victim 2 into a back room and extorted $30,000 from him before returning to the main room to a party. Not only had they demanded a flat payment of $30,000, but also 30% of all the proceeds from the party that night, and said that money was going to developing options. They got another bullet point here: transportation of individuals in interstate commerce with the intent that the individual engage in solicitation in violation of the Mann Act and as racketeering activity. It says in November 2022, Henley paid El Jefe $1,000 to transport 3 women from the Central District of California to Las Vegas, Nevada, to engage in solicitation and other crimes under Nevada law. During a Title III wiretap, the FBI intercepted calls and text messages between Big U and El Jefe. Those communications include a call between Big U, El Jefe, and an unidentified male when Big U talked about a Vegas trip and told the man on the phone with them that El Jefe going to make every bitch get naked right there. Give my brother some head right now. And she going, I make up go to work. Ain't no plan. Following the intercepted communications, LAMTVFG investigators interviewed El Jefe at her residence. In the interview, although she initially denied her involvement with pimping and pandering, she ultimately admitted to promoting this act, noting that she was known for bringing the hoes. She said that she did not consider herself a pimp, but created environments for women to do actions and make money. This woman told the LAMTFVG she provided Big U with women as long as they were paid. That representation is corroborated by a series of intercepted phone calls from January 2023 when she said she was bringing 7 women to Big U, and after which Big U talked to her and others about her being upset when they did not get paid right. According to this chick, she told her women it's always cash before smash. When investigators confronted her with the intercepted call between her and Big U on November 10, 2022, she confirmed to receiving a Zelle payment of $1,000 from Big U. She advised that the $1,000 payment was for her to close her food truck and accompany him to Las Vegas to cook food and transport the women with her. This is corroborated by the intercepted messages and phone calls. At the end of the trip on November 18, 2022, Big U sent this lady a $500 payment on Zelle. At the interview, the LAMTFVG investigators requested that this lady meet them the following day at the FBI Los Angeles field office to download the contents of her cell phone. She was advised to not speak with Big U or anyone else about the interview. However, subsequent interceptive communications between Big U and others, including this woman, showed that after her interview, she met with Big U and other Big U Enterprise associates to discuss her interaction with law enforcement. Those calls started right after the interview, with an associate calling Big U demanding to talk to him immediately. And on that call, Big U made sure that the caller kept this lady where she was at so that Big U could meet up with her about it the next day. Big U and this chick talked on the phone about what happened yesterday, i.e. the day of her interview. She asked Big U if he was okay and complained that they, presumably law enforcement, were just trying to paint a picture. She did not meet at the FBI Los Angeles field office the day after her interview, as she had agreed to do, and has not otherwise cooperated with law enforcement since meeting with Big U following her interview. All right, it says on other later intercepted calls, Big U complained to associates about LAMTFG's meeting with El Jefe. For example, on June 29, 2023, an associate asked Big U if he received the photograph of the business card investigators left her 3 days earlier when they interviewed the caller about Big U, and told him they had asked about $95,000 she had deposited in her bank account per Big U's instructions. Unprompted, Big U told her they approached a woman he was having S with and talked to her about how Big U was trying to buy girls and be a pimp. Big U said that he was stressed out and that his lawyer told him to stay off of the phone. The next day, on June 30th, 2023, Big U told another caller that investigators had told this El Jefe chick that she was going to be charged with S trafficking based on a recording that they had of Big U telling one of his partners that she can find girls when they want to go out of town. Big U said, "Shit, so you go get me and say my crime is sending girls money for S? Is that a crime? Adult girls too? You hear me? It's not like it's some kids, not like it's a boy. We're talking about grown ass women." Section H says fraud in violation of federal wire fraud and bank fraud statutes as a racketeering activity. Point 1 says economic injury disaster loan program fraud. Through Unique Music, Big U, on behalf of the Big U Enterprise and the entities it controls, also committed fraud intended for COVID-19 pandemic-related disasters. According to the Secretary of State filings for Unique Music, Big U and its CEO also controlled a business checking account in the name of Unique Music Entertainment Incorporated with Bank of America. In 2020, Big U defrauded the SBA of a $90,000 loan through Unique Music under the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, the EIDL. The SBA administered EIDL to provide low interest financing to small businesses affected by declared disasters. In or about March 20th, 2020, Congress passed the Corona Aid Relief and Economic Securities Acts, or the CARES Acts, which authorized the SBA to provide EIDL loans up to $2 million to eligible small businesses experiencing substantial financial disruption as a result of the pandemic. To obtain an EIDL loan, a qualifying small business was required to submit a loan application through the SBA's online web portal. In the EIDL loan application, the applicant was required to provide, among other information, the gross revenue for the 12 months preceding January 21st, 2020. As part of the application, and to be eligible to obtain the EIDL loan, the applicant was required to make certain certifications under penalty of perjury. The applicant was required to certify that all information in the application was submitted was true and correct to the best of their knowledge, and that the applicant would submit truthful information in the future. The application included a warning that said any false statement or misrepresentations to the SBA could result in criminal sanctions, including but not limited to fines and imprisonment, or both. On June 16, 2020, Big U electronically submitted an EIDL application from Los Angeles Angeles for Unique Music, which I have reviewed, in which he falsely represented that Unique Music had a 2019 gross revenue of $500,000 and a cost of goods sold of $300,000. The true financial records that were obtained through the course of this investigation show that these representations made by Big U on the application forms were false. Based on the bank's records, Unique Music was operating at an approximately $5,000 loss in 2019. Specifically, the total amount of money that came in was approximately $30,000 and the total amount of money that went out was approximately $35,000. Nevertheless, Big U claimed that Unique Music was operating at a $200,000 profit in 2019. Those fraudulent misrepresentations caused the SBA to give Unique Music $90,000 in the form of a loan, less the $100 that was taken out for the application fee, and a $10,000 grant, and documents produced in response to a subpoena. Newly created financial documents for Unique Music also show that the claims to the SBA are false, as the documents show Unique Music operating at a negative 72.57% profitability and only $15,500 in total revenue. On June 24, 2020, from Los Angeles, Big U electronically signed a loan agreement between Unique Music and the SBA in which he certified that all representations in his application were true, correct, and complete. Then on June 26, 2020, Big U accepted from the SBA a transfer of approximately $89,900 into the Unique Music account based on the fraudulent June 16th loan application and the fraudulent June 24th loan agreement. On July 7, 2020, Big U accepted from the SBA a transfer of approximately $10,000 into the Unique Music account based on that fraud. The electronic transmissions of the documents and wire transfers of the funds traveled between Los Angeles and other states, which brings us into the next point, which is wire fraud through embezzlement and charitable donations. The investigation in this matter has also revealed that Big U has committed wire fraud through embezzlement donations to developing options. For the purpose of executing his scheme to defraud, Big U transmitted and caused the transmission of multiple checks and transfers of items by means of wire communication in interstate or foreign commerce. As discussed below, the FBI and IRS have traced his embezzlement of funds that were paid by victims meant as charitable donations. Big U embezzles $20,000 from a donation from a current NBA All-Star to developing options. On August 20th, 2019, Developing Options received a $20,000 donation from a current NBA All-Star known as Donor 1. The wire transferred identified the donation as for charity. Donor 1 confirmed he provided charitable donations to Developing Options. Big U, however, embezzled the entire $20,000 donation by transferring the funds into his personal checking account the day after Developing Options received the funds from Donor 1. Big U embezzles $14,000 from a donation from Donor 2 to Developing Options. In early 2020, Developing Options received a $24,000 donation from Donor 2, an award-winning music publishing company. JB, president of Donor 2, issued and signed the check dated January 31st, 2020, which cleared Developing Options bank account on February 3rd, 2020. Investigators interviewed Donor 2's custodian of records and CPA and received documentations for the following. This company believed the $24,000 donation would provide football equipment for local non-profit organizations and deducted $24,000 as a charitable donation on his personal tax returns. Instead, Big U embezzled $14,000 of the donation by transferring the funds to his personal checking account. Big U made that transfer one day after the donation check, which Big U endorsed on behalf of Developing Options, cleared the Developing Options bank account. Donor 2 did not authorize any portions of the funds donated to Developing Options to be given to Big U personally. Here's another example. On November 3rd, 2021, Developing Options deposited a $19,000 donation check from Donor 3, a popular online content platform. At the time, Donor 3 was helping Big U produce the Checked In podcast. And I believe that they are talking about World Star Hip Hop right here, because that's who helped produce this podcast. The purpose of the payment was a donation to support the Crenshaw Rams youth football team. Donor 3 sent the donation in response to Henley's invoice on Developing Options letterhead, which FBI and IRS agents obtained a copy of, stating that Developing Options was going to use the donation to purchase uniforms for the Crenshaw Rams youth football team. Instead, Big U embezzled $15,000 of the donation by transferring the funds into his personal checking account one day after the donation check cleared the Developing Options bank account. Here's another one. On March 21st, 2022, Developing Options received $10,000 from Donor 4 intended to support a food program paid for by Developing Options. According to the invoice from Developing Options, the meal program cost $5,000 for food from a restaurant on November 9th, 2021 and November 23rd, 2021. Developing Options checks from its bank account records show that the actual cost to pay for the meal program was $3,000. Big U did not personally fund the meal program from the restaurant. Developing Options sent an invoice dated February 2nd, 2022 to Donor 4 for $5,000 related to the meal program and $5,000 for administrative and office fees. On March 21st, Developing Options received the $10,000 payment from Donor 4. On March 28, 2022, Big U transferred $10,000 to his bank account. The payment from Donor 4 was meant as a charitable donation and was not intended to be given to Big U personally. I got another one here. On September 21st, 2022, Developing Options received a $20,000 check from a former NBA MVP, Donor 5, intended to support Developing Options and the Crenshaw Rams. On September 26th and September 30th, 2022, and October 7th and 11th, Big U transferred various amounts totaling $15,000 to his personal bank account. The payment from Donor 5 was intended as a charitable donation and was not intended for Big U. On November the 8th, 2022, Developing Options received $100,000 from Donor 6, a production company. The purpose of the payment was a donation to support the Crenshaw Rams youth football team by covering the cost of one student athlete in the Crenshaw youth football and cheer organization. Instead, Big U embezzled $36,400 of the donation by transferring it into his personal checking account in multiple transfers between November the 10th and December the 1st, 2022. On December 13th, Developing Options received $50,000 from a foundation known as Donor 7 as a donation to pay for direct program costs and expenses of operating Developing Options. Instead, between December 19th and January 3rd, Big U transferred $32,500 of it to his personal bank account in various denominations. Pursuant to the grant award letter from Donor 7, all grant funds were intended to be used to support Developing Options social justice programs and initiatives. Then we get into some bank fraud. It says in December 2022, this guy Blanton was purportedly working for Developing Options and drawing a salary from them as well. He was denied a residential mortgage loan because he could not verify sufficient amounts of income to qualify. Blanton then began working with this dude Hines, a licensed loan officer in the Central District of California. On intercepted phone calls, Hines advised Blanton that his salary would need to increase for him to qualify for a loan. Blanton told Hines that he worked for Developing Options and that his unc, i.e. Big U, was his employer. Hines then spoke with both Big U and Martin as the CEO and CFO of Developing Options, respectively, and on further intercepted calls about fraudulently inflating Blanton's salary to temporarily support his loan application. On January 13, 2023, Big U and Martin did so by purporting to pay Blanton $6,500 in non-employee compensation, which comes with its own tax form for verification. However, as shown in calls, Blanton actually paid Big U back the $6,500, so it is not true compensation, just made to look that way to the mortgage lender to artificially inflate Blanton's claimed income so that he could qualify for the loan. Blanton never received non-employee compensation any other time. Okay, in this next part, it gets into some basic tax crimes that Big U supposedly committed. These are probably the least important ones of the whole document, but he used the wrong forms when he was filing his taxes. That's what it says here. It says that he didn't pay any taxes on approximately $80,000 in 2019. He didn't pay taxes on the docuseries he did in 2020 and 2021. It says that out of $153,000 that was given to Developing Options in 2019, he embezzled $65,000 of it. It says that he embezzled $14,000 in 2020, $25,000 in 2021. He didn't file or pay income taxes on any of the embezzled funds. Big U makes various threats and brags about violence to further the Big U Enterprises reputation for fear of violence, solidifying its power to extort victims. There were a number of calls intercepted during the course of this investigation in which Big U bragged about violence that I believe showed the Big U Enterprises' continued intention to intimidate and control members of the community through fear and violence. These include boasts to a victim, but also generally recounting of violence threats or violent acts that are in line with Big U Enterprises' modus operandi. It says in 11 of 2022, in multiple calls, Big U recounted sending someone to Minnesota to collect several $100,000s from a current NBA All-Star. This debt is purportedly collected on behalf of someone who Big U refers to as Jew Boy.
So they're saying that basically
2022,
he was extorting
and trying to
somebody in
intimidate a
Minneapolis.
car shop.
Crazy. That reach is so far to say that he got even 30,000 or 20,000. This is just insane. His outreach was
Owner into agreeing that Big U had paid the full amount that he owed. Big U recounted that he had obviously paid the entire amount because he had just done a robbery.
Not to mention that every person that got arrested besides the big three are out. So they all flipped on him. All of the 21 people
And gave all the proceeds to the car shop owner. He then told Martin to get the owner on the phone and that Big U would kill him if necessary. On 11/15/2022, and talking to a former NFL Pro Bowler, Big U stated that he was going to beat the shit out of Witness 2 for starting shit between Big U and Whack 100. 11/22/2022, speaking to someone in jail, Big U said he always had 2 blowers on him. 11/22/2022, speaking to the same person, Big U stated that he was going to charge someone in federal prison $6,000 for a phone. 11/23/2022, Big U stated that he would pay people $50 each to beat someone up. The same day, Big U recounted paying people to mess up a store that refused to give him a discount. 12/27/2022, Big U told someone that they needed to hang OG Crip cuz, and that he needed to be disciplined thoroughly for a violation of Crippin'. 12/30/2022, Big U again stated he needed to break Whack 100's jaw. 12/31/2022, Big U recounted being bigger than any Rollin' 60 member, including Nipsey Hussle. 12/31/2022, Big U stated that if he had an issue with anyone, they would no longer be alive. January 2023, Big U coached DS on how to portray himself to the media, including telling him to wear glasses and to claim DS worked for developing options, even though he did not. January 2nd, 2023, Big U told DS that he needed to at least break Witness 2's jaw. January 3rd, 2023, Big U described tooling up with a firearm even when he goes to Crip neighborhoods. Same day, Big U told someone in prison he was buying 6 phones that could be smuggled in and sold for $1,000 a piece. On the 5th of January 2022, Big U told someone that another person was a rat and done. January 12, 2023, Big U again described needing to beat the shit out of Whack 100. 1/17/2023, Henley described threatening to kill Grape Street Crips. 1/7/2023, Big U described being the hunter of the Rollin' 60s and having paperwork on individuals. February 7th, 2023, Big U told Robinson he was going to break Victim 1's jaw. 2/13/2023, Big U stated that he was going to break the jaw of a business manager who worked for a former NBA MVP. 3/3/2023, Big U described the modus operandi of the Big U enterprise, which included robbing individuals but not taking everything from them so that they could continue to work, be robbed, identify other robbery targets, and buy their stolen things back. 4/1/2023, Big U asked someone to grab a firearm for him that he left under the tire of a car. 4/11/2023, Big U discussed with Blanton an individual who was going to be robbed in the near future. 4/17/2023, Big U discussed sending a message to a dispensary owner that he uffed with the wrong guy. February 14, 2023, Big U recounted slapping Jew boy. February 14, 2023, Robinson told Big U that Robinson told Jew boy that he owed him the money, that they would allow a payment plan, but that if he did not pay, there was going to shut this motherfucker down. 4/1/2023, Big U asked someone to grab his blower, which he left on the ground in a blue sweatshirt in front of a tire. I got bullet point 3 here. Big U and Robinson describe other threats and violent acts of Big U Enterprises. I got a paragraph here that says throughout the Big U Enterprises extortion of victim 1, members of the Big U Enterprise discussed violence and illegal activities to victim 1 in order to intimidate the victim and to ensure that the victim kept paying extortion fees to Big U. Examples include on 6/22/2022, Robinson told victim 1 that it was necessary to have a firearm when hanging out with Big U. On 7/9/2022, Big U recounted to victim 1 an incident in which Big U and the Rolling 60 gang members chased down Whack 100 attempting to hurt him. There's 15 to 20 people with us with hoodies tied down. I got my hoodie on all black tied down. She like, boom. She jumped in the car, paid for something and then took off. Boom. Here come this dude screaming, my wife draws. I see you, Eugene. I see you, Eugene Henley. I see you. He's screaming all that. He's got his blower, but he's uffed up because nobody's around. We like, bitch ass dude. I'm like, yeah, bitch ass dude. He like, I don't want to die here, man. Don't do this. My wife, my kids in that car. Draws. Don't do this. He's screaming. Damn, I ain't know they did this to Whack 100. That's crazy. It's got another bullet point here. 10/22/2022. Big U told victim 1. Robinson told victim 1 that Big U could not be patted down at a club because he would be armed. Then they got this section right here. It says identification of the property and premises to be searched and probable cause the evidence of various subject offenses will be found in that property, right? And this is just laying out the properties that they're going to search, the Mercedes, the houses. They go through, you know, his wife received service at this address before, people had met him there before, basically proving that the addresses and the houses that they think are his. They say that they were going to raid the developing options premises, basically saying that, you know, there's probable cause to believe that developing options is permeated by fraud and that relevant evidence could be found there. We kind of went over some of the stuff that could be there, the embezzlement and all that stuff. They have a section here where the cop lays out, you know, his training and experience on racketeering offenses. It's not really important to what Big U had going on. I did the same with his training and experience on robbery and extortion offenses, homicide offenses, financial crimes, digital devices. And then it's got the conclusion where it lays out all the offenses that everybody violated. And it is signed by the United States magistrate judge. And that is the entire document as it relates to the crimes. I know there was some stuff there at the end, but it was just the police officer's training. Nobody wants to hear me read that. But that's what we got, man. That's the document. There is a lot of wild stuff in there. I could probably make 15 different videos about everything that I just read, but I'm going to leave it where it's at, man. Y'all get the point, and now y'all two have basically read the whole document. That's pretty much it for this video. Y'all got to let me know what y'all think about it in the comments down below. Anyways, that's basically it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man.
That indictment has been, I've never seen such a detail.
All right, so Big U has turned himself in. He has been apprehended. Him and a bunch of other
they've been following him for a minute. Oh, my favorite lawyer. Let's watch this guy because he always has like the best intel on things that are going on.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Is my son who passed away in November.
He's one of the best
drug overdose
lawyers.
And I'm telling you, if you know somebody like that, step in, do whatever you can. Don't stop, don't quit, don't give them a lot of shit for being an addict. Be as supportive as you can. And if you have to do an intervention,
yes, I love this ad.
If you have
self-snitching. I think we need to buy this ad.
Fucking commit him. I mean, if Michael was in jail right now,
everybody needs a hat.
He'd be alive. So sometimes that helps. And I didn't realize how bad it was until
Big U. You need this hat.
But that is what it is. So just remember that it's really important to support anybody that you know that's struggling with addiction. And sometimes it just means giving him a meal. One of the last things I did with Michael was I washed his hair because he thought bugs were all over him. And I was just trying to be kind to him. And he was 6 feet tall, 127 pounds when he died. I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but he's the reason I'm even here doing this. And so, anyway, and then also we have some news. Grandma's still in the basement, and she's going to probably resurface around April 1st. So keep an eye out for Grandma, who's in the basement doing her thing. So we're talking about the Rolling 60s. You know, like here they had the Rolling 30s. You know, that was an association of fellas who were in and it's the streets. You know, it's the number of the streets, the Rolling 60s. And Big U, it's in South Central Los Angeles, and it kind of started in 85 or thereabouts. And Big U is one of the figures in the industry who came directly from the street.
Big U was one of the first members of the Rolling 60s.
Valtown. But he is from the Arlington and Slauson, which is known as the 60s territory. The Arlington gang was led by Big U's cousin Chili Capone, and as time went on, Arlington guys would call themselves Rolling 60s as they were from the same area. Now, here's the thing.
That makes a lot of sense. So Big U's been owning the Rolling 60s for a long time.
Big U and Chili did not start the gang. They were like the second generation. These are not people to mess with, you know, and they all have, you know, a teardrop, not necessarily a teardrop, but they have earned one anyway.
But technically, Big U didn't have any.
And Big U, who's like their main guy, claims not to have any direct join. Said he didn't directly join the 60s, but that the affiliation was a natural one, as he was an AG member, Arlington gang member, and he built his reputation on being an excellent fighter, learning martial arts, growing up, and possessing natural leadership skills. And when Chili Capone died, you know, they all die young, right? He became the next leader of the AGs, or Arlington gang. And as the years went on, that just kind of morphed into the Rolling 60s. So they've indicted about 20 guys. You know, I'm doing one right now where they've indicted well over 45 guys, and they're continuing to indict people. They're pulling people out of prison who are serving 30-year sentence on a homicide to indict them on a murder case, so they never get out. I'm telling you, this is not. If you're sitting there thinking, "Hey, it's a cool idea to be in a gang," or if you're thinking, "I have to do this," think again, because this is happening all over the country. It happened in Atlanta, and we know what happened there.
Conspiracy of manslaughter or one of those secondary charges, because
Young
if
Thug
he was
had
supposed
just
to do
amazing
it,
lawyers,
knowing that he would get,
and they didn't give up, which is just amazing.
Alive, if he didn't do it himself.
As the crack epidemic came in, the focus shifted to getting money, which brought more enemies meant more firearms, and the gangs now had unlimited access. Big U would also rob dealers, and after attempting to rob an undercover officer who posed as a dealer, he was sent to prison for 23 years, serving only 12 before going to prison. Big U managed to corrupt in 1990, who would go on to sign with Death Row Records after Big U went to prison. All these guys go to prison. You're in a gang, guess what? You're going to prison or you're going to die, one of the two. And it doesn't matter how long and usually it's either for large drug crimes, and now it's RICO, which they can take any little thing and say it was in furtherance of the conspiracy. So it's a conspiracy. You remember what we said. It's an agreement between two or more people and an act to do a criminal act, and then an act in furtherance of that conspiracy. They have a motto in the Rolling 60s, and the motto is, "You not 60s until you smoke one." You know what that means, to smoke on your ops? We've talked about that. Imagine wanting to be part of an organization that has a motto basically saying, "You ain't a real one unless you backdoor and kill your brother." Example of what happened to Nipsey Hussle and, you know, Sandman Niggas. The amount of fame and clout Nipsey brought to them, only for a tweaked out J-Cat from his hood to kill him. Oh, that's from the Boy Mess, whoever that is. And some of this stuff is just put together by our team here, and we're really trying to highlight, and what I'm trying to do is highlight the dangers of being in a gang and the dangers of not building a good life. It might seem like a good idea at the time because you might be intimidated, you might have this, you might have that, and you might not have a choice. You know, you might think you don't have a choice. find a mentor. If you're 10 years old, you gotta have somebody that's a strong. If you're a 10-year-old black kid in the hood, you know, in the inner city, you know, if you're whether it's Chicago, LA, Minneapolis, or New York, Detroit, Houston, Dallas, Jackson.
Hey guys, thank you for joining. Please hit the like
there's over
button and
50
follow the
unsolved
page.
homicides in the last 5 years, and it's probably grown since then because that's an old statistic. But if you're a 10, 12, 13-year-old kid, find somebody close to you, you know, that's not in the shit. That's not, you know, somebody that's solid. Because there are men out there, you know, just solid men. And gravitate towards them every day. Every day build with that. You know, listen to your mother. Listen to your auntie. Listen to your sisters. You know, because they're not in that shit. You know, and if they are, make other plans. I hate to sound like an old fucking white dude who doesn't know what he's talking about, but I see this every day. You know, I see the aftermath of this shit because I'm a criminal defense lawyer. So I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm not just some, you know, Mr. Rogers dude putting on his fucking sneakers and his cardigan, you know, sitting by my fake train.
Technically, I feel like Aragona would get manslaughter and not the.
So let's watch the press
because
conference.
He was
and this is what I want you guys to take note of. They're mining social media to get you indicted.
Proven otherwise. Let me talk a little bit about Mr. Henley and the street gang here. As I said, Mr. Henley is a widely known leader within the rolling 60s. He rose to prominence in that gang decades ago, and he has since been a fixture on the internet, talk shows, and podcasts, all things that law enforcement have looked at closely as part of this investigation.
Oh, gee. What did I tell you? He's on podcasts. He's, you know, I like the fame. You know, what did the mob fucking hate more than anything else? Notoriety, attention. They wanted everything quiet. Why do you think John Gotti, you know, wound up where he was? Remember, he was the Dapper Don? It's no different than these guys. And why is that? They wanted it quiet because they didn't want to fucking make noise because the empty barrel is the loudest one.
He has maintained the image of an entertainment industry entrepreneur running a music label and of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles, funding a South LA-based charity, developing options, which purports to help at youth risk escape gang life and escape the perils of gangs in high crime areas. The facts.
Well, don't think for 1 minute that won't be part of the defense strategy.
The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheat, and the criminals that enabled him. For example, Mr. Henley engaged in a murder of a musician signed to his label in 2021 and dumped the victim's body in Las Vegas off of the I-15 freeway. He then attempted to evade and obstruct the investigation into the murder, including ordering witnesses not to speak with law enforcement. Henley's criminal enterprise also engaged in other crimes, including transporting prostitutes across state lines, extorting strip clubs, marijuana dispensaries, and other businesses, and fraudulently applying for COVID loans.
So this sounds just like organized crime, does it not? That's how they're being treated.
In the form of a business relief loan. On that application, Mr. Henley falsely stated that his music label, Unique Music, operated at a $200,000 profit in 2019 and was entitled to government assistance, despite the reality that the company had operated at a loss and was ineligible for such relief. Finally, Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling.
Some of those document crimes are so easy to prove for the government, but the bigger picture is that they are part of an organization. And that is how the RICO part of it plays into it. And so it's an overt act in furtherance of a conspiracy.
Donations made by celebrities, professional athletes, and businesses to his charity, Developing Options, which, as I said, purports to give South LA at-risk youth alternatives to gang violence, drugs, and other criminal activity.
So if you have a charity like Donald Trump did and other people, you can't just take that, you know, money and use it for your own purposes, you know. And you ever hear that show, that Cars for Kids, 187, whatever the fuck that is. Remember that?
1877 Cars for Kids. KAR.
Activities from and evade detection from law enforcement. If convicted on the racketeering conspiracy, he and his co-conspirators face approximately a 20-year federal prison sentence. I want to thank our federal law enforcement partners, our state law enforcement partners who brought about the result here today. The Los Angeles Metropolitan Gang Task Force from the FBI. It's comprised of FBI agents, LAPD officers, IRS criminal investigation, the U.S. Department of Justice Inspector General's Office, Los Angeles Police Department, the North Las Vegas Police Department. This case is a great example of state and federal law enforcement working together to address harm from a criminal enterprise. I also want to thank our...
You hear all the organizations involved in this case? You get a lawyer involved. First of all, I guarantee you these guys don't have a lot of money. I mean, some might have a little bit of money, but certainly not anywhere near the resources that the federal government has. That's for damn sure. And not only that,
but the feds was on him since
resources
Eric Garner
like
got
all
arrested.
these different agencies that have specializations within their own departments, like the IRS, like the Postal Service, like the Gang Strike Force, like the U.S. Attorney's Office and the District Attorney's Office. So if you look at Operation Drawdown, you've got 19 there. We're going to black out their names because
technically they arrested 22 people, but they only had indictments on 19.
They haven't been convicted of anything yet. But look at the people up there. You got the IRS, you got the LAPD, you got the U.S. Attorney's Office, you've got Department of Justice.
Yep.
You've got all these different logos. Now I'm going to read you from the indictment. In February 2021, FBI Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs launched an investigation into Henley's criminal enterprise, the Big U Enterprise, and its association with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips street gang, the Rolling 60s, which the Los Angeles Metro Task Force Against Violent Gangs, began investigating in August of 2020. The Big U Enterprise is a mafia-like organization that utilizes Henley's stature and long-standing association with the Rolling 60s and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. The Big U Enterprise is led by Henley, and you just heard about Henley. Henley is a self-admitted member and original gangster, or OG, of the Rolling 60s, a violent criminal street gang with associated sets in several other states. Henley is widely regarded as a leader within the Rolling 60s. Now, Eugene Henley, known as Big U, a.k.a. Unk, a.k.a. Draws, a.k.a. Hannibal, a.k.a. Hannibal Muhammad, a.k.a. Anybody Killer, a.k.a. Dave Austin, a.k.a. Anyway, so many aliases, right? When they start reading that shit in open court, it doesn't look good for you, a.k.a. Bear Claw, for a violation of 18 U.S. Code Section 1962D, racketeering, influence, and corrupt organizations, conspiracies. And what they're doing now is they're treating them like organized crime. It makes it easier to prove and to get them off the street. And I guarantee you some of these guys are probably already in prison. How do they build a case like this? Well, how do you think? Two ways: snitching and self-snitching. So the sources to build the case include confidential human sources, surreptitious recordings, in other words, wiretapping, including Title III wiretaps, search warrants for social media, iCloud and Google accounts, financial records from both individuals and companies or organizations, toll records showing communications between conspirators, victims, and Big U Enterprise members and associates, cell site location information from numerous phones, including Henley's, Robin, and these guys.
Hey, Robert Hertrup from Shark Tank. I'm a huge fan. Hey, what is your number one tip for saving?
Guys, City of Los Angeles records, public filings, and other publicly available information, and interviews of witnesses and victims. The investigation employed various additional investigative techniques, including surveillance, vehicle tracking, poll cameras, recording devices, interaction with confidential sources, and information gleaned through undercover purchases of firearms and narcotics. So they're going to have video and audio of transactions. You know, oh, here's some guns. Guess what happens with a gun? It's a 5-year mandatory minimum on top of whatever the underlying conviction is. It's called 924C. And the issue with this is this is going to be a document intensive case and a discovery intensive case. It's not going to just be talking. You know, it's not going to just be witnesses, but they're going to have plenty of those too. So just when you think your brother next to you is your friend, all of a sudden he shows up on the witness stand because he's fucked if he doesn't. So the United States District for the Central District of California authorized multiple Title III wire and electronic interception orders for telephones being used by certain subjects of the investigation, including Henley and some of these other guys. The court also authorized interception of audio and visual nonverbal conduct via closed-circuit TV through installation of video and audio bugs in a location. So what does that tell you? I mean, remember what got John Gotti? There was a surreptitious recordings that they had the social club. Well, they went up above the social club that they had, and they were hanging out in this woman's apartment. And they put the recording devices in that apartment, and John Gotti is heard on the recording wanting to order a hit on somebody. So let me tell you something about the federal government. The federal government is patient, motivated, and competent. We're talking about, probably a 5-year investigation. No Jumper, which we were on No Jumper, or I was on, Michael and I were on No Jumper a while back. They released a statement. In addition to DJ Vlad, also expressed shock at the allegations against Big U, which he denied. In fact, Vlad claimed that Henley alleged that he was never part of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips gang at the center of the RICO case. He also suggested that snitches and the spread of incriminating evidence on social media is what possibly led to this, not any specific media coverage. And here's the thing, the media doesn't cover this shit at all. I don't ever hear anything about this. All these statements line up with Adam 22's response to similar accusations claiming that No Jumper had nothing to do with the case. The outlet's name reportedly appeared various times in the indictment due to Brick Baby's previous work with them. So this is Adam 22. I'm not seeing anything that says anything. I'm not seeing anything that says anything about stuff he did in the last 2 years since he's been fucking with us. Adam 22 said of Brick Baby. I do employ people from the streets. People from the streets sometimes get caught up in federal RICO indictments or whatever the fuck this shit is. We're going to be documenting the whole thing, helping them along the way. Anybody acting like this is because of No Jumper. No Jumper is the antidote. So there you go with that. So what is the responsibility of media outlets when it comes to figures like Big U manufacturing an air of intimidation in the Rolling 60s if these media outlets employ people from the gangs that are at risk? Well, what is the responsibility? One of the things, if somebody comes on your program and they release information or if they have their own podcast, anything they say is fair game. It's statements of a party opponent, so it comes into evidence. And here's why it's important when you see the pervasive nature of what these guys are doing. They ran a thing called a check-in, and this is in the indictment. Henley and the Big U Enterprise are widely known for requiring what's called a check-in for out-of-town entertainers or gang members in Los Angeles. So if you have a big enough organization, the Rolling 60s was decent size, and you are intimidating people like anybody that's coming into town, as Henley described in the docuseries, if I don't answer the phone, it can be death for someone else. Everywhere, there's someone like me, and you can't put a monetary value on his touch in hip-hop. After more than 3 decades as Rolling 60s members and several years managing famous hip-hop artists, Henley was widely regarded as an original gangster or OG. In the docuseries, record producer Andre Young, aka Dr. Dre, explained that it's very helpful to have an OG who can clear the streets with this operating environment. Henley instituted the concept of the check-in when hip-hop artists.
What are you still doing here? You still have not downloaded Pi Adblock? You know I'm just gonna keep showing up on your screen until you download it, right? Honestly, it's 2025. No one is watching ads anymore. Not even me, and I'm literally in the ads. We have downloaded Pi, the free Chrome extension that blocks ads on all your favorite sites. It takes like 2 seconds to install, and then you can just use the internet freely, and you forget about all the ads that used to be there. Unless you still want ads, because with Pi, you can opt in to see a limited number of ads and then earn rewards for the ads that you do see. You can even control what ads you want to keep and which ones you want to block. Like, I actually do shop from these kinds of ads, so I just keep Pi disabled. And if it sounds too good to be true, it's not. Like, there are over 1 million users and
other celebrities visit Los Angeles. So here's how it works. The individual must check in or meet with the local street representative of said city to pay a tax or a fee for permission to both to move about freely and to have an event or conduct business in that other city without the risk of harassment or, I mean, doesn't it sound just like the fucking mafia? It sounds just like it if it's happening. Keep in mind, they deserve the presumption of innocence. Now, all we're doing is just reporting on what the indictment says. We're not putting a comment on the guilt or innocence of any particular person.